Nice to see you, Chet. I saw you, Hawkeye. Alrighty. Yeah, we'll have it ready. Don't worry. We don't usually, even with like 100+ viewers, which I've only reached a couple times, the chat rate is usually more than fine for me to keep up with. Good day, everybody. Eva, why you got milk all over your face? Okay, listen here. Look, I have to be extremely careful here. I've been hearing that YouTube has been cracking down on smaller creators trying to cover the situation because of the controversial issue. We have also disabled monetization on the stream. Feel free to gift a membership or a super or whatever you want to do, but we're not going to have monetization enabled. At least we shouldn't anyway. Let me check. Edits, customization, monetization off. Good. Okay. Good. Good. There we go. Music was a little loud, people said. You might say they have their own agents. Good morning, good evening, and good night. Smaller creators. Eva is indeed pretty small. Okay. You know what? We're going to the freaking waiting room. You meanie faces. Here we go.
Oh, hello. We were just talking about you kids.
I'm Denise Heberly.
And I'm Bill Goodman.
Together, we've been fighting fascism for over 50 years.
And so much has changed over those 50 years, such as the ingredients to a successful firebomb.
And the glass that bank windows are made of.
But there's one thing that hasn't changed over 50 years, something that is so important to tell you kids who are new to this movement.
Shut the fuck up. You're sitting in the police transport van after a protest?
Shut the fuck up. In a holding cell with your comrades?
Shut the fuck up. Cop knocks on your door?
Shut the fuck up.
Texting on an unsecured device?
Shut the fuck up. Pulled over by the cops after a protest?
Shut the fuck up. Cop just asking about your day?
Shut the fuck up. Feds call your mom?
Tell your mother to shut the fuck up.
Now, repeat after me. When the cops come calling, what do you do?
Shut the fuck up!
Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant.
Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
And anybody, look, I know I don't normally pause my clips, right? But I have to ask everybody in chat. Does he not sound like Alpha from The Walking Dead? Like he's fully snapped and he's just become Alpha from The Walking Dead. Not if you understand. Hello hello, chat. Welcome, and I hope everybody is having an absolutely fine, fabulous, fantastic Monday. Let us do a quick little check here. Let me go to pop out chat so I can greet all the people who have been chatting in the chat. JP Ravenfire, Festiva, Satoru Yokai, Isaac 13D, Don Hotto King, Sam Jackson, Mixed Skittles. Oh, and Douglas Diaz, 129 with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Sam Jackson, welcome to the chat. Meteoric, Hawkeye, Radcon Hazard, Tarde, Naruhime, Disfantasy, Burst Channel. Let's see here, Shaojo, how's it going? Oh, Shinobubu, how's it going? And there's the 5 gifted memberships. And welcome to House Curl, Ranger Jedi 7322, Jack the Reaper, Pharaoh Hawk, JKC Charon, Jolosita. Yes, welcome. So today we have kind of a special stream and kind of a serious stream, obviously. We are going to be reacting to a what I would call pretty wide range of content creators in the lawyer sphere, and all of their takes and different methods of approaching this, basically analyzing the situation. We have the DUI guy, aka attorney Larry Foreman. He actually did an interview with like an AI version of Jonathan Ross, who is the individual. Oh, thank you so much, Hua Trupa, for the 20. Thanks so much for representing Sinan last night in Seiso Court. In the end, she got sentenced to time at Auntie Tenma's house. You did all you could. Here's your lawyer's fees. Yeah, here's the thing. By the time I got there, sadly, I got the call late in the night. Shiojo, if you want to know, Seiso Court is a Fates Connect collab, stream thing. I was summoned by Hula Troopa late, last night, and I did my best, but by the time I got there, like most lawyers, I ended up late. And sadly, she had already admitted to several of the charges, and she had racked up like 18 or 19 charges by the time I ended up going into the chat, including weapons trafficking. I'm not sure how that happened. But sadly, I just decided to say that my client pleads insanity and, throw that Hail Mary. Didn't quite work out. We'll get him next time, chat. But yeah, we do have, for this particular stream, we're going to be reacting to attorney Larry Foreman's interview with an AI version of Jonathan Ross. We're going to be reacting to criminal defense attorney Bruce Rivers and his response. His I take with quite a bit of weight because he's actually an attorney who operates in Minnesota. So this is happening right in his backyard. We also have a reaction and an analysis from Nate the lawyer to look at, and we also have a reaction and analysis from Legal Eagle. Obviously, we're going to try to get Legal Eagle out of the way, probably in the second video after the AI interview. My issue with Legal Eagle is he's just way too one-sided for me. But I did want to do my best to get takes from every side of this legal argument and this analysis, and then at the end of all of this, I'm going to be offering my own analysis. Yeah, it was bad. we got some legally eagly. Look, as long as he sticks to the facts and stuff, it's fine. But my issue is his TDS is kind of crazy, you know? That's kind of my thing. I'll call out Trump where I see he needs to be called out. I will praise him where he needs to be praised, whenever that happens. But I'm not like where, Legal Eagle's channel has become basically just day-to-day coverage of things that Trump is doing. And I know politics and law intersect a lot, but I mean, he's really limited his channel and what he, is going to reach. I mean, I miss the old Legal Eagle when he would react to like movies and pop culture and stuff like that. That's kind of my thing. Yeah, so we're going into this, and we're going into Legal Eagle's video, knowing that we're gonna have to take some of it with a grain of salt, but we do have to at least recognize and understand the position that he holds as a lawyer, and a lawyer who has done federal trials, has done state trials, and he's he is accomplished in the law world. I might not agree with a lot of his opinions, especially with his hyper focus on Trump, but that's beside the point. Legal Eagle has the ability to stick only to the facts, like I can pass on stake. Yeah, I thought this video was good, but I wish he dove more into the federal law and jurisdiction. That's kind of what we have to look into, is there's a lot here that people are going off of state law, but the issue is, and I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, in fact I would lean towards it's a bad thing, but the feds have been more or less blocking any attempts from the state to collect evidence and cooperate with, state and federal authorities to figure out everything that happened in an unbiased manner with checks and balances between the federal level and the state level. That's how it usually always happens when it comes to interstate cases. It's what happened with Tyler Robinson. It's what happened with the CEO shooter. It's pretty standard practice. And so for the feds to be denying and roadblocking the state's attempts to conduct an investigation, that kind of gives me a red flag there. But that's not enough for me to decide one way or another. It just means that right now, the government's burden is a little bit higher to me because I've caught them in some shady behavior. Elfpire Eva almost said lap lawyer. I know I didn't. Nope. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go first with Attorney Larry Foreman. Attorney exposes flaws in ICE agents' deadly force claim. So here we go. Again, this is an interesting take. This is the most unique take I've seen from a lawyer online, where he's basically created an AI version of Jonathan Ross and interviewed him as he would in a deposition. I think it's an interesting experiment. It might be a good training tool for attorneys in law school or studying, but I'm a little wary about the application here. So we're gonna check it out real quick. But we're gonna go in understanding that yes, AI was used here, and yes, I know some people don't like that, but look, we are nothing if we're not open-minded, and we have to look at every angle here. So first angle we're going to look at is honestly, in my opinion, the weakest, which is the AI angle. So let us get this set up here. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Come on, buddy.
So even though you would not agree with me, that it is possible that your decision was wrong and you wrongfully killed Ms. Good.
No, I will not agree. I acted within the parameters of DHS use of force policy. Based on the totality of circumstances, I neutralized a perceived deadly threat.
Now, I will say, it is my opinion based on the video that we saw and the multiple angles that we saw, that a big thing you could get Jonathan Ross on, beyond just any prosecution or anything like that, right? I do believe he had violated internal use of force policy, specifically when it comes to positioning oneself in front of and behind a car, of which we saw him do twice. Now, I'm not saying that justifies the woman deciding to try and ram him or anything, but what I am saying is that the DOJ manual specifically states, hey, we can't do this because it will create a situation in which the officer is forced to make a potentially lethal decision. Can we just point out, though, there was a dog in the car? There was a dog in the car. That is very tragic. I still don't actually know what happened to the dog. I don't know if anybody in chat does.
And what were those totality of the circumstances? Could you tell us, please?
All right, so here we go.
Say anything new. You must follow the law. He was present, so I think he can answer whether or not it happened or not.
Have you had any conversation with the prosecutor?
I could say the same thing by taking Amber Heard as a client.
Mentative, don't you think?
Oh, hardly.
Are you able to estimate of those 1,000 different types of cases dealing with accident reconstruction?
We're not with the jury present. That was a tough.
Have you reached a verdict? We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh yeah. Something else, by the way, that needs to be said. The woman who was filming, the wife of Renee Good, she needs to be looked into, investigated, and properly charged because she was yelling conflicting orders to what ICE was actually ordering her to do. And I'm sorry, but that is recklessly dangerous, and that does need to be taken into consideration with the totality of the circumstances of what happened here. So absolutely, the woman who was filming and instigating, say, have another one on us, big boy, or something like that. Oh, we don't change the license plates every week, so it'll be the same when you come back. And all these, like, all the things that she was saying, not okay. And it especially wasn't okay for her to yell to her spouse, conflicting orders to what the federal agents were ordering her to do. Big fucking deal. Seriously.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with attorney Larry Foreman. Folks, today we are going to be doing something brand new, something that I have never seen before on YouTube. I have never seen before on LawTube. I have never seen anyone do this yet. I may just be the first one.
Look,
this may be a complete
you
flop.
Are.
This
and here, okay, you know what? I like it. I like it. Say what you will, he's absolutely right. I saw somebody in chat earlier mentioned having a conversation or an argument with AI is something that's okay to do, but so long as it's in private. The thing is, we're lawyers. We're professional arguers and debaters and discussers, okay? So, Larry is right. I can't think of a single instance in which an attorney conducted an AI cross-examination of somebody. And he's right. This may turn out to be a complete flop. This is experimental. This is weird. I'm sure a few people might be uncomfortable with it. But knowing the type of career that attorney Larry Foreman has managed to establish for himself, not just as a content creator, but as a defense attorney, I am willing to give him the shot, and I'm willing to look at this with an open mind.
May be a total success. I have absolutely no idea. But hey, if you don't try, the answer is always no, as they say. So, what are we going to be doing today? Today, we are going to be cross-examining a fictional ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, who fatally shot and killed Renee Good. Now, I just want to give you guys a warning. The footage is disturbing. So if you have not seen it, there are two vantage points. One is from a bystander with a cell phone, and the other is...
I don't know when, let's see here, when this one? One was, okay, let's see here, 1 day ago. I mean, as of 1 day ago, we have multiple points. I do know that some of the points have been confirmed to be fake or edited, but they're the really choppy looking ones. And there's one I think that was spreading around on Twitter that you can tell somebody put like a 2.5 times meter on because the girl's fucking car goes like it's a freaking go-kart in Mario Kart. So there's been a couple fake angles, there's been a couple edited angles, but I believe as of the posting of this video, there's two main reliable angles, and it's the one that we get from the side, and it's also the one that we get from the ICE agent's cell phone. Now, there has been a lot of reporting saying that the ICE agent's body cam is what was captured, but that is not true. ICE agents don't have body cams, nor do I believe are they required to wear them. Now, I think that's a big issue, and in order for ICE to be able to defend themselves, honestly, ICE should have body cams. That should be 100% a thing, right? I mean, I think we can all agree with that. That being said, he was holding his cell phone and recording with his cell phone, and that's the other angle that we have. As far as I am aware, those two angles are the best and clearest angles we have of the full situation.
The body cam footage of ICE officer Jonathan Ross. And of course, Ms. Good is the one driving the maroon vehicle that I think by now everyone has seen the footage. We are not going to be playing it on my channel because I don't want to get copyright struck, but we are going to do something very original. We're going to be doing something that, like I said, I don't think I've seen.
Hold on, I wanna read this because he has this on the side here, but he's not saying it. So, 23 hours ago, from the posting of this video, he said, one thing I will say about the recent deadly ICE situation, when body cam and footage is bad for the government, they hold it on to it for years. When it's favorable to them, it's out in the public within hours. Typical government behavior. This is why I hate the government. Yeah, no, I mean, that is a factual observation. But that also kind of plays into the idea that the government does believe that they are on the right side of this, which is why they actually release this footage so quickly. Now, Larry Foreman reposts that and, quote, retweets his own tweet, and he says, full disclosure, I only saw the body camera footage, which again was his cell phone camera footage. I just saw the bystander's cell phone footage, and it's a bit more damning than I anticipated. Normally, I'm not flippant about my opinion, but I didn't have all the facts. Now I am torn. I don't think the officer was in the line of danger. He was standing to the side the entire time, as it was clear on the video. He was just trigger happy. So this is Attorney Larry Foreman's, I guess, initial impression, especially after he just saw, and it's a bit more damning than anticipated. Okay, so now Rebecca, the spouse, who was screaming like a Karen. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Shinobubu, it's an important video, but not purely deterministic. It's important to examine all. Yes, you have to examine all angles. Because the Supreme Court has ruled twice recently that in these kind of officer-related shootings, you need to look at the totality of the circumstances involving the situation that unfolded. Which means that, yes, every angle that we can obtain, no matter how unimportant it may seem, we have to examine and we have to look into.
Anywhere else on the internet in this capacity or in any other capacity. We are going to do a role play. I'm going to be playing the plaintiff's attorney, cross-examining the ICE agent, a fictional character. Obviously, it's embodied by AI. It's not Jonathan Ross. It is somebody that I have given a script to, ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is going to role play with me. ChatGPT is going to answer my questions as if they are playing the role of Officer Ross. I have instructed ChatGPT to be combative. I have instructed it to be resistant. It's not just going to give me yes, 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 yes answers, although you will see a very interesting pattern once the cross-examination begins. And for the most part, you're going to see a very hostile and defensive Officer Ross. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video. Obviously, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I want to...
Okay, well, I would like to know a little bit more about your prompting parameters. So what I mean by this is AI and learned language models, they can do quite a lot, but only if prompted appropriately. Now, here's my issue with what he has presented. He has prompted ChatGPT to roleplay as Jonathan E. Ross, but what information has the learned language model actually articulated and gathered regarding Jonathan E. Ross? I would actually limit the AI cross-examiner, the AI agent, I would limit them to interviews and appearances and statements from Jonathan Ross himself. He has been an ICE agent since the tail end of the Obama administration, okay? So since 2016, Jonathan Ross has been a member of ICE and law enforcement for over 10 years. Hey guys, loving the content. Nate the lawyer, how's it going? I believe we have yours is next. if you want to stick around. Right now we're watching Larry Foreman's very interesting and unique attempt to AI cross-examine ChatGPT, who is posed like role-playing as Jonathan Ross. So I'm interested to see what happens here. It's only 12 minutes. We're 3 minutes in, so we got about 10 minutes of this. So let's see what is going on.
Hear your commentary. What can we do to make this better in the future? This is something, like I said, that is brand new.
Like I said, if you wanted to make it better on the future, and if you wanted to create an AI persona out of Jonathan Ross or anybody you wanted to quote-unquote cross-examine, you need to feed it and have it restricted to only footage of that individual's behavior. For instance, if I wanted to create an AI persona of Johnny Depp, I would probably try and feed it a lot of the testimony that he gave during the Amber Heard trial.
We have other technology. Maybe at some point we're going to be able to communicate with like an avatar and actually have somebody talking back rather than just a voice and an image is what you're going to see here. This is a little bit low tech. I tried playing around with this AI called HeyGen, and unfortunately I was not able to create a image that is going to be talking at me. It requires a lot of coding. They don't have the basic setup anymore.
And
again,
that's all right,
let me know in the
Skittles.
comments below
We're
if you
going
are,
into this understanding that this might... Oh, my thing just died. What the heck? We're going into this understanding this might be unreliable, this might be a failed experiment, but it is an experiment. I encourage chat to keep an open mind over the next, 9 minutes.
Willing to help out. I just need a little assistance with respect to coding, but we're going to get to that. Without further ado, let's dive right into the cross-examination of me cross-examining ICE agent Jonathan Ross about the killing of Renee Good.
Let's do it, dude.
Let's go. Officer, could you state your first and last name for the record, please?
Jonathan E. Ross.
And you are here today to testify, and we just heard on direct examination about the events that transpired on January 7th, 2026. I want to talk about that a little bit, if that's okay.
It's your cross-examination, counselor. I'll respond as I already have.
How long have you been with ICE?
I've been with ICE for 10 years, following 5 years as military police in the Army. I've dedicated my career to lawful enforcement and public safety.
Okay. On January 7th, 2026, you were on duty, correct?
Yes, I was on duty that day, operating under official ICRO enforcement protocols.
And those
actually what would be... Okay. I'm sorry for pausing, but I just had a thought. This would actually go really well if you had another lawyer acting as opposing counsel. So you actually had an opposing counsel being able to actually insert objections or whatever and actually be able to, simulate a real court situation a little bit better. Because Larry only cross-examining Jonathan Ross in an isolated incident where he doesn't have opposition, that's not really going to get the simulated court experience we're looking for, right? So I think to make this better, you would want an opposing counsel to actually play off of to make it feel a little more real. Yeah, like a mock trial, yeah.
Laws require you sometimes enforce the laws of the United States and make arrests, correct?
That's correct. My duty is to enforce federal law, and when necessary, effect lawful arrests under the totality of the circumstances.
And that day, you were trying to arrest an individual on the street, correct?
Yes, I was attempting to apprehend a suspect in line with my mission when the driver became a variable threat.
Well, hold on. We'll get to the driver. I just want to establish the parameters first, if that's okay with you.
I don't need your permission to proceed, counselor. If you have a question about parameters, ask it.
Okay.
Wait. He got a little weird there. Wait a minute. Can I go back? What? Oh, wait a minute. No, okay, so here's the thing. What you would do is I would have the AI created as our witness.
We'll get
the cross-examiner is a real person. Opposing counsel is a real person. And if you need a judge for the mock trial, then the judge will be a real person as well. I want it makes more sense to me to get better results if you isolate and limit the variables of how much AI you're actually using. If we have 3 of the 4 people here being AI generated, I'm sorry, to me that's going to dirty up the data pool.
The driver, I just want to establish the parameters first, if that's okay with you.
I don't need your permission to proceed, counselor. If you have a question about parameters, ask it.
Okay. So you were not the only ICE agent on scene that day, correct?
That's correct. It was a coordinated enforcement operation. Other agents were in different positions securing the scene.
Ms. Renee Good was in a maroon vehicle, right?
On January 7th, 2026, in Minneapolis, I was involved in an enforcement operation. The suspect vectored a 4,000-pound vehicle into my path, and I discharged my service weapon to neutralize the threat.
Hold on, Officer Ross. I understand all of that. Can you please focus on my questions and simply answer the question being asked and not offer any additional information, okay?
Objection
Understood.
Unresponsive.
I'll stick to your exact questions.
So, when it comes to Ms. Good, you saw her in the maroon vehicle, correct?
I saw the suspect operating the maroon vehicle, yes. I assessed her actions as a developing threat.
Before we get to that, one of your individual police officers approached her vehicle on the left-hand side, asking Ms. Good to get out of the car, right? As we saw in the video.
Vectored is actually I see let's see, Aiko Smith. I'm so sorry, Miko Taku. I'm gonna call you Miko Taku. Vectored is actually a common word I've heard cops use in court like quite a bit when describing a situation or something that happened, being cross-examined or giving their own testimony. Vectored is not nearly as rare of a word as you might think.
No, counselor, I dispute that. The officer approached tactically, issuing commands to halt a non-compliant subject. That's the totality of the circumstances I observed.
So he was asking her out of the vehicle, yes or no?
Yes. The officer instructed the suspect to exit the vehicle as part of a lawful command. Yes.
There was also another individual outside of the vehicle who was recording you with her cell phone and egging you on. Do you remember that?
Yes, I recall a bystander escalating the situation. That created a distraction and added to the potential hazard.
Well, at the time that you were approaching the maroon vehicle from the maroon vehicle's right...
Well, that's not a great admittance. Are you saying that this bystander who was badgering you was distracting you from assessing this situation yourself? Like an admitted distraction to the situation you were supposed to respond to with deadly force? That's not a good thing for this witness to admit to.
Right-hand side to the left-hand side, or for you it was from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, you were not in the line of danger because the vehicle was stationary before the vehicle began moving, correct?
Counselor, I reject that premise. I moved to contain the perimeter. The threat emerged when the vehicle vectored into my path. It was my duty to neutralize it.
But before the vehicle began moving, it moved in a reverse action first, right?
Yes, initially the suspect reversed. But the moment the tires turned toward me, I perceived an imminent threat.
Despite the fact that we have video footage of you standing to the left-hand side of the vehicle, and we do not see, and we see the vehicle turning to the right. Is that correct?
That camera is two-dimensional. It doesn't show the depth or the aggression in the suspect's eyes. I observed her vectoring toward me, and I acted on the totality of the circumstances.
So is it your testimony here today that you simply acted with it making a split-second decision? Is that your testimony here today?
Yes. It was a split-second judgment within my OODA loop. I observed, oriented, decided, and acted to stop the threat before it escalated beyond control.
In the bystander video, not the cell phone video of the ICE agent, but the bystander video from afar, we can clearly see that there is enough room for you to simply take a step back and not be within the line of impact of the maroon vehicle driven by Ms. Good. Is that not so?
No, counselor. That video does not capture the reactionary gap. I had a fraction of a second, and I perceived no alternative but to neutralize the threat before it accelerated.
So let's talk about vehicles generally. I understand that you have a history with vehicles. Is that correct?
That's irrelevant to this incident.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's you can't. Okay, objection. Okay, now Larry should be like, Judge, can you compel the witness to answer my question? It's not you. The witness can't object. That's up for your lawyer to do. You can't. Sorry, that's irrelevant. You can't make that objection, my dude.
Every threat is evaluated independently. I acted based on the totality of circumstances that day, not any prior incident.
No, I understand that, but I simply want to bring out the fact that you may have some post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of being dragged by a vehicle 6 months prior. Is that not true?
No, I reject that implication. I'm a professional and I assess threats based on present circumstances. My prior injury had no bearing on my tactical decision-making.
So you would not agree with me that somewhere in your mind you had perceived this vehicle as more of a threat because of your prior experiences with being injured by vehicles?
No, I would not agree. I perceive this vehicle as a threat because of its present actions. My assessment was based on immediate danger, not past events.
And it is your testimony here today that
I would say that's a decent because, look, I don't think when the vehicle started moving, Jonathan Ross went, oh my God, it started moving. This might happen the same way as what happened to me 6 months ago. And like, by the time he's done with all that thinking, the fucking car is driven away. I do honestly believe that Jonathan reacted in what was his mind an immediate threat to his life. That's pretty much the biggest defense that Jonathan Ross can actually present here.
Saw something in the subject's eyes. What did you say? It was the way that she looked at you?
Yes. In my threat assessment, I observed what I interpreted as aggression in the suspect's eyes. It was part of the totality of circumstances that led to my action.
And is it not very convenient for you because we actually don't have a video capturing what the suspect was looking at and how they were looking at wherever they were looking? Isn't that convenient to say that she was looking directly at you with aggression because there is no evidence of that in the record?
Counselor, it's not about convenience. I made a split-second judgment based on my perception as a trained agent. The absence of a camera angle doesn't negate my duty to act on what I saw and felt.
So even though you would not agree with me, that it is possible that your decision was wrong and you wrongfully killed Ms. Good.
No, I will not agree. I acted within the parameters of DHS use of force policy. Based on the totality of circumstances, I neutralized a perceived deadly threat.
Okay, look.
And what were those
I know I
totality
said totality of circumstances like a couple times in the beginning of this, but this fucking AI bot loves that fucking phrase.
Circumstances. Could you tell us, please?
The totality included the suspect's non-compliance, the vehicle's movement toward me, the reactionary gap, and my obligation to protect life, mine and others on sea.
Well, folks, what did you guys think? It was new. It was different, right? I'm wondering what things can we do to make it better? What can we do? Maybe polish the script a little bit to make it more...
What I'm going to do, and I don't normally do this, but I'm actually going to leave a comment. First of all, subscribe, notification bell, do all the things. But I'm actually going to leave my suggestion here. One of the things that I think could be done to make this better is better training of the AI, limiting what it takes to witnesses' interviews or personal statements, while also having a living opposing counsel. Wow, am I that bad at spelling? What the hell? Okay, we're also having a living opposing counsel and judge. Structuring this more like a mock trial than an isolated cross-examination that feels more like... Jesus, what is wrong with my hands? Like a deposition than an actual court cross-examination. Keep up the good work. Was a very interesting experiment. Experience, what the heck? Experiment. Bam, done. All right. Remember to punctuate properly. Your ref is on the line. Look, I'm a zoomer, okay? We have trouble with punctuation. I do punctuation capitalization much better than like 99% of my my peers. All right, so we have now and next. Now that we've had Larry Foreman's view and approach to it. Next we actually have Nate the Lawyer. Nate the Lawyer's video is posted just a day ago as well, and it says new ICE agent POV released, full legal breakdown. Let us see here. Get this all set up. After this, I think it's gonna be Legal Eagle, and then it'll be CLR Bruce Rivers. And then I think we'll have gone through a decent range of takes from different lawyers. So, without further ado, here we go. I said here we go.
This shooting in Minnesota is crazy. If you're on the left, they're calling it straight up murder.
Brian, I've watched multiple camera angles, including...
I'm sorry, Nate. You pulled out the Midas Touch fucking... or is it Legal IF or whatever the fuck, or they have so many, the Midas Tech, the Midas Touch network. Yeah, I know. It's funny because I watched this exact video, so it's just funny to see this footage.
a close-up, slow-motion version of that deadly shooting, and to this old prosecutor, it looked like criminal homicide, some level of homicide, whether second-degree murder or manslaughter.
But then you have the right-wingers who are saying this shooting was clearly justified.
She could have moved when they honked the horn. But when they asked her to move, what did she do? She literally hit one of the ICE agents and got shot.
Oh, come on. I know these podcasters. It's him and another, right? Aben, is this Aben something else? Aw, man. I'm actually forgetting his name, but I've seen him too.
This is when play stupid games, get stupid prizes, and F around and find out if they had a baby, that's it.
So, is this murder or is it justified? Let's break it down.
Evan Preach, thank you. Officer Tatum. Oh, I was thinking, okay, my bad. Officer Tatum. I was thinking Abba and Preach. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of them, okay? I'm one person.
All right, here's a quick message from this video sponsor,
Oh,
Rocket Money.
Hey. That's unfair. There we go. Let me go back because you can't just skip the freaking...
All right, here's a quick message from this video sponsor, Rocket Money. Between all of my subscriptions, bills, and random charges, it feels like my money just disappears like a fart in the wind. That's why I started using Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Now, Rocket Money tracks subscriptions across my accounts and shows me what I'm...
I'll skip the ad.
Nate the Lawyer.
There we go.
Now, back to the video. All right, I'm Nate the Lawyer, and in this video, we're going to look at the Minnesota shooting, and you are going to decide if this was murder or if this was a justified shooting. We're going to look at the camera footage, we're going to look at the law, and we're going to look at the spin from both sides, and I'm just going to leave it to you to determine if this was justified or not. So first, we need to know what happened. Here is the police chief in Minnesota explaining exactly what happened at the time of the shooting.
My name is Brian O'Hara, BRIAN_O'Hara. I am the Minneapolis police chief. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed.
It was 3, right? I'm going to assume that this is the press conference or the press release pretty much immediately after the event because some of these facts don't seem correct.
On the side of the roadway.
So the next question is obviously, what was she doing and why was she blocking the street?
Yeah,
Here's what the chief
why
said.
was she
So the
blocking?
question was, what can I share about the deceased? There is nothing to indicate that this woman was the target of any law enforcement investigation or activity. This woman was in her car, and it appears then blocking the street because of the presence of federal law enforcement, which is obviously something that has been happening not just in Minneapolis, but around the country.
All right, so now we know why she was there, to prevent ICE from arresting people who may be here illegally. So she was preventing their law enforcement activity. She was using her car to block their path, and something horrible happened. So first, as always, we'll start with the law. So you know what you're looking for when you see the evidence.
Tennessee v. Garner.
And then we'll look at the law.
Tennessee v. Garner and Graham v. Connor. Okay, 85 and 89. Let me just hold on. I'm doing something. The sign language person. Look, I know. Look, and I took American Sign Language in high school because there were people I knew who were deaf. And I honestly feel this is a bit of an antiquated, part of the language. I get it. I understand the reasoning. But the exaggerated facial expressions, while I understand are necessary in imparting tone and context to what you're saying when you're signing, it comes off as extremely distracting when you're just supposed to be a strict translator. If you are just strictly translating, you shouldn't be trying to reflect the tone of the person speaking. You should just keep it neutral. That is my personal criticism and opinion when it comes to, ASL translators on television and on press releases and stuff like that, because it is quite distracting.
So you know what you're looking for when you see the evidence. And then we'll look at the evidence, and you are going to apply the law to the evidence so you can come to your conclusion at the end. So, without any further ado, here's the law. There are two cases that we have to consider. Tennessee v. Gardner from 1985 and Graham v. Connor from 1989. These two cases direct how officers are going to be judged if they use deadly physical force against a subject. So we're going to start with the case Tennessee v. Gardner. Now, in that particular case, police shot a fleeing felon in the back. They witnessed the person committing a felony. The person started running away.
I think I've read about this case. Give me one quick second. Because we have citations in case law, I need to bring up the case law. Tennessee v. Gardner. Gardner. Here you are. No, okay. Thank you, Justia. 1985. I'm just having this up on the side on my second screen for reference as he goes over. Oh, wow, it was decided near my birthday. Alright, here we go. Hey, I said here we go.
Shot and killed the person. And in Tennessee, it was legal to shoot fleeing felons in the back. But the Supreme Court said, no, that's actually not constitutional. And the Supreme Court said, unless the person is a serious threat to the officer or other members in the community, then you can't just shoot them in the back or essentially commit executions on the street because the person's running away from you. And as you can see from the Justice Department's own website, it's called...
Yeah. Facts, a state police officer shot and killed Garner as he was fleeing the scene of the crime. Despite knowing that Garner was unarmed, the police officer believed that he was justified in shooting him to prevent his escape. Garner's father brought the constitutional challenge to the Tennessee statute that authorized the use of deadly force in the situation. The state prevailed in the trial court, but the state appellate court ruled that the statute was unconstitutional.
The fleeing felon rule. Next, we move to the case of Graham v. Connor in 1989. Now, in that case, if police are using force, that force is going to be judged by what the court says is known as the objectively reasonable standard. The objectively reasonable standard is an objective standard used to judge an officer's actions. Under the standard, a particular application of force must be judged through the perspective.
While he's going through that, just real quick facts on Graham v. Connor. When a diabetic patient began to experience an insulin reaction, he asked a friend to drive him to a convenience store to buy orange juice. Since the store was crowded when he arrived, the patient felt that he would not get the orange juice in time and asked his friend to drive him to another individual's house. A police officer noticed the patient leaving the storeroom after he entered it and followed the friend's car. The officer eventually stopped the vehicle and ordered the patient and the friend to wait while he investigated what happened in the store. Other police officers handcuffed the patient after arriving at the scene while failing to investigate or address his medical condition. The patient was injured during these events, but the original officer released him, and after some time had passed when he found out no crime had occurred in the store. Let's see here. Case commentary. Here we go. Interesting. Primary holum, a claim of excessive force by law enforcement during an arrest, stop, or other seizure of an individual is subject to objective reasonableness, Center, Fourth Amendment, rather than substantive due process centered under the 14th Amendment. In other words, the facts and circumstances related to the use of force should drive the analysis, rather than any improper intent or motivation by the officer who used force.
Of a reasonable officer facing the same set of circumstances without the benefit of 20/20 hindsight and be based upon the totality of the
Hey. You know, I really gotta figure out why it keeps doing that. Because it's like, it's like failing hardware acceleration or something.
At the time the force was used. Now, under the objectively reasonable test for Graham v. Connor, the court gives us 3 factors that we should consider. Now, these aren't exclusive. There are many...
Joe, stop being dumb in my chat. Okay.
Many other factors that you can consider, but these are 3 the court points to in the case. 1, the nature of the 911 call. Bank robbery, more likely you're going to use force versus cat stuck in a tree. Then you have whether the suspect is resisting arrest. More likely that you're going to be using force. And then last but not least, this is from Tennessee v. Gardner. Remember, if the suspect is a serious threat to other officers or members of the community, then it would be objectively reasonable to use force to stop that threat. So now you know the law, and you're going to apply the law to the facts of this particular case. So let's look at the facts.
In this footage taken by a bystander just before the shooting, we can see Good's maroon SUV partially blocking the street. Good's partner, seen here outside the car, and ICE officer Jonathan Ross are filming each other. You can see Good in the driver's seat, waving cars by while Ross begins walking around.
Okay, this is actually really, because we have this, so this shows that Officer Ross doesn't have a body cam. He was filming with a cell phone. Now, here is my issue, and something that I do know about use of force policy when it comes to, I think it's Homeland Security and Border Customs. Unless they are in the middle of conducting a brief investigation, they're not supposed to really go in front of or behind a car. Now, he just passed this, and I remember he was actually looking at the license plate, then he looked at her. So I would consider that a brief investigation. He moves right along and continues on and continues moving over here.
2 more federal officers arrive in this gray truck and approach Good's vehicle while simultaneously speaking to her.
So, law enforcement officers with lights and sirens and in full uniform are ordering a motorist who's blocking traffic to get out of their vehicle.
Yeah. Okay.
The whole encounter, from the moment an officer told Good to get out of her car to the 3rd shot, lasted just 7 seconds.
So now quickly, let's just break down what we just saw.
With the video slowed down, you can see one officer grabs the door handle as Good begins backing up the car. Officer Ross can now be seen filming with...
Deficiency. If a cop tells you to exit a vehicle, you are not now behind the wheel of a deadly weapon. Unless he orders you to exit the vehicle and you put that fucking thing in drive. Now you have weaponized your vehicle. But so long as your vehicle is in park and you are not operating it, a command to have you exit the vehicle does not immediately qualify the vehicle you're in as a deadly weapon. The vehicle needs to be in motion before that classification can be applied.
His left hand at the front of the car. You can see the front wheel spin forward and Ross draws his gun with his right hand.
So now I want to point you to the front tire and where it's at. The officer's in front of the car and the tire is pointing at the officer. So now if you hit the accelerator, you're going to run right into the officer. And as you can see, the person in the car is hitting the accelerator. That's why the tires are spinning. As you can see, the officer has his gun out The tires are still pointed directly at the officer, and the car
It's
is
starting to
moving
turn, though.
forward. Now, at the last second, the tires turn away from the officer, but the officer is struck by the vehicle, which you cannot see from this angle. Now, here's
No,
a
you
second angle
can't.
from the front of the vehicle, so you can
Here we
clearly
go.
see the officer is actually hit by the
he
car.
gets struck by
Well,
the
the
arm
slowdown version
and
is
his
showing me
on
that,
his left quadrant. You can see it right there. He pulls. I think he at one point, and we'll see it from the cell phone footage if we end up seeing that footage. But he pulls his holster when the thing actually starts moving and their wheels turning. Now, I will argue that honestly, drawing and even the first shot, yeah, but by the time right before and up to the first shot, at that point the wheel was turned away and he was clear of the vehicle and he put into more shots. That's a little, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
When the SUV pulls forward, they make contact with the
right there,
agent.
you see him actually get hit by the
Word.
Look at this. Hold on, can I? Yeah, look at that right there. You can just barely see it, but he makes full contact with the car right there. Now it's the left hood, right? And it's on his left quadrant. So he's almost out of it, but he still definitely got bounced by the fucking car. See? Boom. Now he's clear of the vehicle though. Any extra shots from here, I have a hard time justifying.
Make contact with the agent in the street, and then immediately following that contact, you hear 3 gunshots follow.
So as CNN's expert has shown us, the officer was being struck by the vehicle and returned fire while the vehicle was literally hitting him. Here it is in real time. So next, the officer was recording this incident on a cell phone.
Yes.
So now let's look at the incident from the officer's perspective.
This one, if I remember correctly, this one is much more damning for Renee Good. This one is much paints Jonathan Ross and his actions and reactions in a much more justifiable light, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, well, look, you don't get in front of cars, but you also don't start driving when someone tells you to get the fuck out of the car and when someone's drawing a weapon. What the problem I have here is it's a nuanced situation, and I'm sorry, but yes, I think that both sides did wrong here. Renee did wrong listening to her fucking idiot spouse telling her to drive instead of complying with lawful orders. And I'm sorry, but I do know that in terms of the use of force policy, he violated that policy a couple times when he was rounding the car. That's okay. I'm not saying that I would just say that, Jonathan Ross's defense is a good one, but he's not completely free. Because remember, the defense, applying the defense in court of self-defense is in and of itself an admission. It's a partial defense, right? So obviously wrong was still done here. But the goal here is to figure out, even though wrong was done, was the wrong actually justified?
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
Yeah, see, her, I'm very upset with. Look, her, yeah, there we go. Let's frame it. This one right here. You're responsible for your wife's death, woman. You. More so than Jonathan Ross, more so than Renee Good herself, in my opinion. This woman and her fucking words right before Renee Good is shot are the reason Renee Good is dead, in my opinion. You're gonna hear it and I'll play it back.
Later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us?
Thank you for the 5.
I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
Go get, look, why are you instigating? This is insane. You don't, oh my god. I understand peacefully protesting, but what about this is peacefully protesting. You were asking for a fight.
Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the
Out of the car. Okay, out of the car, and she turns to go into the car.
Get out of the car.
Did you hear that right there? Drive, baby, drive. First of all, it's really funny to me that even while she's trying to get into the car, she's like, drive, drive. You're a freaking idiot. And you are yelling conflicting orders to your spouse. Oh my God. And there you go. And I mean, did you hear that hit?
Get out of the car.
Listen to this. You hear this hit pretty, you know, let me turn it up so you guys can hear this thump. Listen to this. Yeah, that was, see, boom. You hear the impact and then you hear the shot directly after.
So now here, the wife is antagonizing.
Oh. Thank you, Nate, for this perfect fucking frame. She is the one. I hope she's happy because of her, kids don't have their mom anymore. Like, think about that. Think about that. Because of your wife, your kids don't have their mom anymore. They just have their stepmom. What in the absolute hell? Yeah, the first shot was muffled by the hit, yeah.
An officer asking him essentially, what are you going to do?
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Dude, what are you
So now
doing?
they realize that ICE is about to arrest them for interfering in federal law enforcement activities.
Yeah, this is absurd. This is clear
And the
obstruction.
wife, who's standing outside filming, tries to jump back in the
Tries
car.
to get in, yeah. Oh, quick, get
So
back
now
in.
what you're going to hear a lot in the media is that the officer placed himself in front of the car. But as you can see, that's not accurate because while the officer was standing still, the car actually repositioned itself and pointed the front of the car directly at the officer.
Oh.
Now, as the officer was trying to move...
Okay. That is quite a bit different, isn't it? Look at that. Hold on.
Move toward...
Yeah, no, you're right. What happened
And
is she moves the car backwards and to the left, and that actually just makes it look, I mean, he's walking, but she positions herself facing him. There you go. I mean, that was, I mean, look. This is not a good look. See? Okay, hold on. Sorry. YouTube doesn't like when I do this too much.
Positioned itself and pointed the front of the car.
Yeah, that's not, see, that's not good. Yeah, that is definitely not good. Okay, yeah, this is not great.
Directly at the officer. Now, as the officer was trying to move toward the driver's side of the vehicle to get from in front of the car, the person hits the gas, striking the officer.
And strikes him, yeah.
Now, simultaneously, while being struck by the car, the officer lets off 3 successive shots. So now that you know the facts, now that you know law...
For anyone wondering about that firing rate with a pistol, 0.7 seconds, 3 shots, understand that Jonathan Ross has not only been a veteran of ICE enforcement, he is also one of their firearms instructors. So that's kind of wild. He was still walking left towards her the whole way. I will concede that, but the problem is Renee Good's actions kind of counter the narrative that he was intentionally moving in front of her car, because that issue and situation is now muddied with Renee's actions. If Renee had remained, even if she kept the car straight when she backed up and then turned, might be different. But the fact is, she turned her car towards him as he was walking. That is an issue.
Let's bring everything together so you can decide if this officer is justified or not. If we apply the Graham standards to the case at hand...
I don't think... I do... Look. Sadly, intent doesn't really matter with what she meant to do, but I don't think she meant to hit him, and I do think she was actively trying to avoid him. But intent doesn't matter when you've weaponized your vehicle and it is now aimed at an agent. That's kind of the thing there.
Was it 911 call? Blocking traffic. Pretty light, right? Was the person resisting arrest? Yeah, the officers were trying to open up the car door to arrest her or detain her, and she resisted. She didn't stop the car and get out and talk to the officers. She was actively resisting. And then last, was she a serious threat to the officers or other members of the community? Well, to the officer standing in front of the car, the government's saying she was a serious threat. She hit the officer with the car. Where if you're on the other side of it, you're saying she wasn't a serious threat because she was trying to run away. The argument here is that this woman's case is more like Tennessee v. Gardner. The police essentially shot a fleeing felon. And the government is saying, no, she was a serious threat to that officer and he responded with deadly physical force. Now, if you're on a jury, you're going to have to ask yourself, was that officer standing in front of the vehicle, was that a serious threat to that officer? When she hit the gas, car's going forward, and the officer's hit by the vehicle. And remember, the officer's shooting as the car is hitting him, so it's happening all at the same time. Split second. Yeah. Now, this is where the media spin comes in, because on the left side of the political aisle, they're only showing you one video, this one.
Yeah, because this is look, this is the least favorable angle and position for this video and situation. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw only this angle, I was straight up, it doesn't look good for Mr. Roth. But luckily, because everyone has a fucking camera now, we have multiple angles, and I'm not normally, like Larry said, I'm not normally flipping on my opinion, but like, I'm kind of like, look, there's some justification here for what he did. For everything he did, maybe not in my opinion, and I'm allowed to have that opinion. But it definitely, it's not as clear cut as one side or the other is making it. And another issue that I have, and I'm not sure if Nate is going to bring it up here in the next 5 minutes. He very well might. The issue with me is federal authorities refusing to cooperate and hand over evidence and work together on an unbiased fashion to actually, get to the bottom of this and adjudicate it properly. The feds are throwing up the wall there, and that's a red flag to me. Maybe it's not to other people, but to me, when one side decides that they're not going to play by the rules and one of them says, oh, hey, this officer has absolute immunity, these are not things I like to hear. Even though I will say Jonathan Ross has a good case, I would like it to be adjudicated properly, and I would not like the federal government to basically fuck around, okay? Because if you fuck around with this and you're gonna make the optics look far worse than what they could be if you properly just go through the process as our procedures have dictated for decades. I mean, come on.
Now, Glenn, that's one angle. There are obviously other angles that are floating around the internet.
Midas touch again. That's one angle. There's obviously other angles. Yeah, why don't you show them, though?
Right now, but I think all of them generally show roughly the same thing, which is that there is an ICE agent right at the corner of the vehicle, that the person in the vehicle was attempting to turn the wheel so that they could flee the scene, and of course the ICE agent used that as the opportunity to shoot and ultimately kill the person who was in the vehicle.
Now, just to show you how deceptive that was, he knows there are other angles. He knows there are other videos, and he says that none of them are going to make a difference. But obviously, he's totally lying. Because I think this video,
that one showing, he looks like he's hit there. I mean, he does look like he's hit there. I mean, it is grainy, but actually, you know what you guys want to see? This is something I've done before. Let me just right about there. Give me 1 second. We're gonna do our own. There we go. Let us see. I don't expect much. I honestly am not expecting much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot here. And then I'm going to plug it into ChatGPT. And I'm going to understand everybody. I have the paid for version of ChatGPT because I've been doing a lot of experiments with it. I'm going to feed this picture into ChatGPT, the increased one. and I am going to ask it to enhance the image. Now, we'll see how good ChatGPT can you enhance this image and make it less blurry and more clear. Let's see what the image comes out to be. Damn, it's analyzing the image. Okay, it's creating the image. I'll let you guys know what happens. We're gonna let that run in the background. And we're gonna get back to the video.
Makes a big difference in the way you analyze what happened. So now you know the law, you know the facts, and it's going to be up to people like you to determine if this officer is going to go to jail for murder or some type of homicide charge, or if this was a justified shooting because his life was in danger. Was he being reasonable, or was this criminal? I'll see you in the comments section. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out. Peace. Okay, so now the screen has gone black, and for those of you who have watched to this point, I want to now give you my opinion, because I wanted the video to end, and now you to hear exactly what Now, for those of you who don't know, I got 10 years of law enforcement experience. I also was an assistant district attorney.
I did not know that. Wait a minute. Nate, you were a fucking cop? You were on the other side of what we do? I'm messing around. But wow, I did not know you had law enforcement experience. 10 years. Thank you very much for your service. Your service, excuse me.
And, you know, I've been a defense attorney for a long time. This is just my evaluation of the facts as they are. I think the officer has a good defense. And I think a conviction here is probably going to be very, very, very unlikely, even without the political nonsense. The reason why I think is because when the vehicle goes forward and the officer has the gun pointed at the vehicle and he's actually hit with the vehicle, if that happens, then I don't think there's really going to be any court that's going to say that that's not a serious threat. And for those facts to manifest themselves, it's going to probably lead to this officer not being charged with anything. They may say this is a good shoot. And in this case, I can see both sides where you could say this may not be as clean a shoot as you want, but I don't think this officer will go to jail. I don't think there's going to be any charges brought. And if there are charges brought, they're going to be brought in vain, because soon as you put an officer in front of a vehicle and the vehicle goes forward and the person's pressing the gas, it's honestly going to be almost impossible to convict that officer. It just is. It's standing in front of a vehicle that's coming at you is a serious...
Oh, here, let's check it out now. It's been a few minutes. Let's see if it has come up with anything. Let's see here. What in the heck am I looking at? There's no way this is what you came up with. Image created. Winter parking lot with vehicles. Look at this, guys. I'll get this right on you. Hold on. Forget you. Here, let me save it. Here, let me save it. Hold on. Download, please. What? Hello? Is it... Are you... Oh, come on, stop. Are you kidding me? It's not letting me interact with the image. It's not letting me interact with ChatGPT. Okay, hold on. We're gonna... Nah, I don't like to do this, but I gotta close the window. Hold on. No, it didn't put a birthday hat on him. It's insane. It put cones and shit between him and the car and made the car in a parking lot. It makes no sense. Like, you guys are about to freaking laugh your butts off. I can tell. Here, let me... New tab. Okay. Images. Image enhancement request. Here it is. Now, let me download it. Thank you. There we go. Okay, guys. This is the image it came up with. What? It's not the same car. It put her in a parking lot and it put the guy over here behind some radiators or some shit. What is that? What is that? Oh my god. It's so fun. You know what? Let's see what Grok does. hold on. Let's see what Grok does. Let's see what Grok manages to come up with. Cause I have Grok. Hold on. Let me see here. Voice images. Not imagine. No. Grok image creation. The guy is half merged with that van, you're right. Definitely a violet filter. I think it might be, but let's check Grok just to make sure. I should probably, you know, create more than one data pool set. Please enhance this image and make it less blurry. Okay, there. Okay, now while Grok is going, we'll start on our next video. Well, we're doing Legal Eagles Take next. Whoa. Interesting. This is what Grok came up with. That is very interesting. No, I don't want the web page. I want download this. Thank you. Look, it knew that it was still too blurry, but it still had, look, there's clearly a person that, like, right up against this car. This looks like it did its best, but it clearly wasn't able to make it perfect, and it didn't hallucinate in an entire scene that didn't happen. So I will say that Grok technically did a slightly better job there. But that is not what we're here for. We're here for the next video in our little go through here. We're doing Legal Eagle now. Oh man. Okay, come on, buddy. Please don't be too tedious up, okay? I love ICE shot and killed her, and then right below it, Trump violated international law. Well, here we go.
And the video.
Okay, well, jeez. Oh God. Here we go, guys. Oh, by the way, and I don't know if Nate is still here, but I do have a rule, in my Elfpire Reacts. If I see anything, overly inflammatory, clearly, biased, raising, etc., basically it's at my own discretion, but I have what's known as a 3-strike rule. If he says extremely stupid things that make me want to exit the vehicle, I give him a strike. The vehicle, excuse me. That make me want to exit the vehicle. The freaking video, Jesus. I give a strike. If I get to 3 strikes, we end the video because it's not a reliable source. That's kind of what I do. Strike 1, it's legal, it's legal. Come on, guys. Alright, here we go.
You've probably seen by now. On Wednesday, January 7th, ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot and killed a motorist during an immigration-related operation in Minneapolis. The victim, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen and mother of 3, became involved or sought to legally observe the proceedings after dropping off her 6-year-old son at school that morning. She was shot in the head in the front seat of her car. The incident took place shortly after the Trump administration escalated immigration enforcement operations in Minnesota by deploying thousands of agents in the state. Diametrically opposed narratives have emerged over what led to the shooting, with the administration uniformly defending the agent's deadly use of force and seemingly everyone else saying he was 100% guilty of murder. Not surprisingly,
I'm sorry, what? Dude. Seemingly everybody else? What is this echo chamber that you live in? I'm not gonna give you a strike, but that was goddamn close. But let's hear it one more time.
Seemingly everyone else saying he was, with the administration uniformly defending the agent's deadly use of force and seemingly everyone else saying he was 100% guilty of murder. Not surprisingly,
Yeah. Everyone, you can't say things like everyone else. That is so broad.
it depends. But just hours after the shooting, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security issued a statement blaming Miss Good for the confrontation, characterizing the fatal shooting as an act of lawful self-defense. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem told reporters that
when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
President Trump echoed these conclusions, insisting Ms. Good, quote, viciously ran over the ICE officer, justifying the fatal confrontation. And
okay, hold on, pause, no, hold on. This is something I do have a problem with. I know that we have kind of gotten used to the fact that Trump kind of lies as easily as he breathes, but let's read this real quick. And also understand that when I was coming into this situation and looking at all the angles and stuff, I honestly was at first against the government's defense because of this kind of shit. Trump says that Good viciously ran over the ICE officer. Adding, excuse me real quick, where is it? Is it up here? Is this the one? Based on the Is this not the... Oh, it's not. I thought this was the part where Trump said he was hospitalized and he was recovering in the hospital. The dude walked away from the situation and then drove away and never went to the hospital. I don't like that.
And as Vice President Vance has so eloquently put it, but videos posted online and witness accounts appear to contradict the official narrative. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car. As we'll talk about in some depth, analyzed from multiple angles, the video footage seems to show Miss Good's car attempts to back away from officers surrounding her car and trying to force entry, and then lurch forward.
Oh, that was funny. Oh, nice try, Devin. That might be a strike. Hold on, guys. We might have just got our first strike. Because... look at this. Okay, so he shows two angles, right? As if being transparent. But here's my problem. As we see on the top video, it's getting to about the point where it shows that this vehicle speeds up and runs over, and he cuts. He cuts. Look, he cuts right before the most damning part of the above angle. He cuts to the lower angle and a zoomed in version of the lower angle. I'm sorry, but that's my first strike. I don't like that. That's my first strike. That's what I told you. This kind of fucking dishonest framing, I do not appreciate.
Surrounding her car and trying to force entry, and then lurch forward in an ill-fated attempt to escape confrontation. Mayor Frey has aggressively pushed back on DHS's version of events.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Okay, I know you're upset, but you can't just go around kicking federal agents out of your state or city. If they're there for a reason, especially enforcing federal law, you really can't do anything. And you know how I know you can't do anything? Something called the Supremacy Clause.
And now, as the country reels in the aftermath of the shooting, Minnesota investigators say that they have to withdraw a probe into the deadly use of force after being denied access to evidence by the FBI. Now,
that's a big issue. I will give him that much. I don't like the FBI denying evidence to the state when they're trying to conduct an investigation. That's not cool. That's not right. That's not how procedure works. So I'll give him that. That is definitely, and again, you guys have heard it from me before, that's a strike for me against the government, but it's only one strike.
A non-dystopian universe, the Justice Department would launch a comprehensive, non-biased investigation into the matter and, depending on the outcome, bring federal charges against the ICE agent who killed Miss Good. But right now, it's safe to assume the Trump-controlled DOJ will take no such legal action. Which raises the question, is Mr. Ross guilty of any crimes, and is there any feasible recourse to hold the agent liable for the death of Miss Good? Now, the fatal incident took place shortly after 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday in a residential neighborhood south of downtown Minneapolis. About a month.
Okay, you guys want Legal Eagle at 1.25 as a punishment for his strike. I will get him on 1.25, but I'm also going to need to turn on closed captionings. I read faster than I listen. Don't look into it.
Mile from where police killed George Floyd in 2020. A frame-by-frame analysis of bystander video footage raises serious questions about the administration's narrative that Agent Ross...
That was literally at 1.0, but this is a lot better.
was forced to fire defensive shots to protect the life of himself and others. Video taken by a witness shows Miss Good's vehicle, a burgundy Honda Pilot SUV, stopped in the middle of a one-way road, its engine idling. And we're now starting to see more videos from the moments leading up to the shooting. It appears that the SUV was initially parked on the side of the road and was only in the middle of the road for a relatively short amount of time before the...
Are you kidding me? We're not even 3 minutes in, we might have our second. I'm sorry, is this what you're trying to frame?
The incident parked on the side. See more videos from the moments leading up to the shooting. It appears that the SUV was initially parked on the side of the road.
They are fully blocking the lane. They are not parked on the side of the road. Look, you see the side of the road to the sidewalk, and it has these two little paint things, right? She is parked perpendicular to her fucking lane. This is not parked at all. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to do it, but this is quite literally the second strike. I'm not joking. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, let's look at it one more time, but I don't know how else this wasn't a dishonest misrepresentation.
Those from the moments leading up to the shooting. It appears that the SUV was initially parked on the side of the road and was only in the...
Look. Oh my god. Okay, you have one more strike, Devin. Papa Elfpire just said, Devin. What did you do, Devin?
middle of the road for a relatively short amount of time before the...
Yes, I used the term perpendicular. Fuck it, sue me.
incident began. The video taken from Mr. Ross's own cell phone shows him filming the vehicle trying to apparently record the license plate of the SUV.
Yeah.
Good's wife...
This is the brief investigation I told you about. When he crosses the back side of the car, there are people saying, oh, he shouldn't have done that. I'm like, no, because it actually specifically mentions that they're allowed to cross the front and back of a car if they are conducting a brief investigation of the front and back. That is quite literally what he was just doing, at least as it pertains to him crossing the back of the car.
Becca was also using her phone to film him. She says,
That's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
And eventually Good herself says, it's okay, dude, I'm not mad at you.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
And those were apparently her last words. Although bystanders were yelling at the federal agents and blowing whistles, it does not appear that Miss Good was engaged in that behavior.
Go home to Texas!
You can see federal vehicles start to approach Miss Good.
Okay, who was that? Was that Becca? Who just said go home to Texas like they're freaking almost a bottle into rum?
Vehicles start to approach Miss Good.
Hold on. Go home to Texas!
I'm sorry, I could barely understand you over that fucking slur. What the hell was that?
You can see federal vehicles start to approach Miss Good's SUV with lights flashing and sirens blaring. Agent Ross can be seen approaching from behind the SUV and crossing the SUV's right-hand side, all while filming the scene on his cell phone. In the crucial moments before the shooting, Miss Good rolls her SUV slightly forward into the street, then stops and waves at other motorists to go ahead of her. Two agents are seen exiting his silver pickup and approaching the SUV, telling Good to... The SUV backs up, then veers forward.
Yeah, see, that's I mean, right. Get out of the fucking car, and you decide to... I imagine the doors were already locked, but you decide to start backing up.
To the right, seconds later, gunfire erupts.
Oh, shit!
Re-examining the scene from a closer vantage point, we see Agent Ross walk around the car while filming on his cell phone, disappearing from view. Other agents pull up and order the driver to get out of the car.
Yeah.
But it's not clear who exactly those agents were or whether the driver could hear them. But it's clear one of the agents grabs the car's door handle and reaches inside, but is unsuccessful in forcing the door open. Almost simultaneously, you can see the SUV backing up and turning right in an apparent attempt to leave using a two-point turn. At the same time, Agent Ross crosses towards the left side of the vehicle and...
Give me just 1 second. Well, sorry about that, guys. My freaking just the streaming services fucking around with us. My Papa Elfpire paused his Netflix subscription. And for some reason today they just unpaused it without his consent or permission and charged him. I was just figuring out what was going on there. Because he was reacting, and I wanted to figure out what the dealio was. Anyway, let's continue here with this recollection of the facts.
Grabs his gun with his right hand. To me, it looks like he unholsters his weapon before the car is moving forward. He opens fire on Miss Good and continues shooting as she drives past him. At no point does Agent Ross appear to drop the cell phone carried in his left hand, and that's bolstered by the footage he took on that cell phone continuously during the shooting, which we'll talk about in a second. Looking more closely at the moment Agent Ross fires,
Not yet. This is all correct. Where he's describing what's happening on video. I haven't seen any dishonest framing yet.
appears to be standing.
Wait, what is that? What are you? Wait a minute. Did I miss a dishonest representation?
Continuously during the shooting, which we'll talk about in a second, and that's bolstered past him. At no point does Agent Ross appear to drop the cell phone carried in his left hand, and that's bolstered by the footage he took on that cell phone continuously during the shooting, which we'll talk about in a second. Looking more closely at the moment Agent Ross fires, he appears to be standing to camera left of the SUV while the SUV's tires are pointed all the way to the right away from him.
Okay, that was correct, because he said camera left. And he is positioned camera left of the camera's lens. That leg right there, that's him. So that was not...
And things are happening fast, and it's not clear if Mr. Ross is in front of or partially in front of the car at the time that the...
Are you kidding me? What is this?
The first shot...
Illustrated, okay. Why are you moving him around? This actually looks like a really good illustration. And why are you moving him around? Oh, he could have been left, he could have been right of there. Oh, who knows? Wait a minute. Camera left is not sneaky. Camera left is quite literally the terminology.
First shot.
Again, guys, you know me. I'm being fair. I'm giving him strikes where it's necessary, but let's not get fucking crazy, okay? I don't like this, though.
Fast, and it's not clear if Mr. Ross is...
See, if he's right there,
in front
and
of
then
or
you go, and you, oh, where is he? Where is
partially
he?
in front
Oh,
of the car at the time that the first shot is fired, but it does...
I'm not a fan of that AI-generated taunt view. Just looks like a TTRPG. Yeah, I know. He wants to sow doubt about where he was. Yeah, no, that was close to the third strike, but not quite yet, because I don't even think he's the one who generated that.
It does appear clear that by the time the second and possibly third shots are fired, he is fully to the side of the vehicle. Reports are that the second and third shots were fired through the open driver's side window. It's unknown at this time which of the shots made contact or were fatal. This contradicts the administration's allegations that Miss Good was running him over or attempting to run over Mr. Ross when he fired at her. Although
Naru Image, shut up. Shut up. Image says illustrated approximation. Eva, what is that?
other grainier video footage filmed from a different angle could appear to support this conclusion, but when this footage is synchronized with the closer footage...
Okay, wait a minute. You showed the full
footage filmed from a different angle could appear to support this conclusion, but when this footage is synchronized with the closer footage, it's clear that Agent Ross was not run over by the SUV and in fact emerged unscathed.
I don't think that's a misrepresentation. I think that's just his analysis. And even if he is analyzing in not the same way we did, it is still him honestly trying to portray what he sees.
And in fact emerged unscathed.
But I don't agree with him. Not entirely. He was at least clipped by the car. That's undisputed, in my opinion.
After being shot in the head, Miss Good's SUV then veers into a white car parked further down the road before crashing to a stop.
Yeah, that's kind of a big reason why in the rules of force, the use of force, policy they have, you're not supposed to disable the driver of a vehicle, because once the driver is dead, who's driving the car? You've just created an unguided missile. And in turn, creating an even more dangerous situation. Now, again, I'm not saying that means that he was unjustified in the shooting. I'm just saying this is why their use of force policy really fucking tries to hammer into them. Don't be in front or back of a car, and don't shoot into a car to disable the driver when the car is in motion. Because now, unguided missile.
The agents witnessing the scene do not appear to rush to provide emergency medical care to Miss Good. Eventually, Agent Ross approaches the vehicles and instructs his colleagues to call 911. Other agents can be seen blocking several bystanders who attempt to provide medical care, including one who identifies himself as a physician.
I go check a pulse.
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician.
I don't care.
Going back to the footage that Mr. Ross took himself, there's a couple of things that we can glean from this. Number one is that Miss Good appears...
We don't really know if you're a physician. I'm sure they've called EMS, or whatever they're gonna call to get the situation handled, but like, you're somebody in your civvy saying you're a physician. I kind of understand why the DOJ and law enforcement in general would be hesitant to allow you to check the situation, especially considering now it's technically a crime scene.
very calm as a driver, arguably snarky.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Which might have been her undoing. There seem to be conflicting orders. Some people are yelling, get out. Some are yelling, get out of the car. You can also see clearly from...
I'm sorry, what did you just say? No way did you just say that. Those are not conflicting orders, and that might be your strike 3. That might actually be your strike 3. Get out and get out of the car are pretty much identical orders. Get out of here and get out of the car are different. But not get out and get out of the car.
There seem to be conflicting orders. Some people are yelling, get out. Some are yelling, get out of the car.
Dude, oh my god. Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? I'm gonna leave this one up to chat. I'm really trying to look at all sides here. But right now, Devin's really making it hard. So what I'm gonna do, chat, is I'm gonna give you guys a poll. The poll's only gonna last a little bit. And we're gonna do a little bit of, I think we'll do a little bit of a palate cleanser here. But I'm pretty sure I already know what's gonna happen. But we'll let this poll run. Should that be strike 3? There we go. And while that's running, I'm gonna get to the next part I think is a little dubious, and I'll look at the results of the poll.
You can also see clearly from Mr. Ross's vantage point that Miss Good is looking all the way away from him as she backs up and also turns the wheel all the way to the right. In other words, turning to get out of that situation and not towards any of the agents. You can also tell from the footage that the engine is revving
again,
at this time, indicating that the car is going to speed up. But at the
He actually mentioned, guys, he actually mentioned the car revving up. He mentioned the car revving up. I did not expect him to do that.
This time, indicating that the car is going. You can also tell from the footage that the engine is revving at this time, indicating that the car is going to speed up. But at the same time, this is all taking place at a very low rate of speed, close to 0, as she's doing what is obviously a 2-point turn. At the same time that another agent appears to be lunging into the driver's side door in an effort to apparently turn the wheel to the left towards the agents. You can also see Ross switches his phone from his right.
That's not good. Not for the ICE agent, but from Renee Good. Like for the cop to be it's just really resisting of obstruction that you really should not be trying to drive away. Why are you trying to drive away? It's really the big thing I want to hit home here. She should not have responded the way she did, and her wife, in my opinion, is partially responsible for telling her to drive, baby, drive. Yeah, well, she's driving to fucking heaven now. and she doesn't have, their kids still have her mom. That's fucked, and it's your fault.
Hand to his left that frees up his right hand to pull out his firearm. But it's also clear that he never drops the phone and continues recording in his left hand while simultaneously taking his firearm out with his right hand and shoots at least twice.
Oh yeah, hey wait, you just saw the hit there. No, we just saw the hit from that angle. Hold on, check this out. And it looks like almost like his other arm gets hit. Cause look at this, he goes, look, yeah, right there. Wait. Oh, wait a minute. Jesus. Right. Okay, so there's when he's drawing the gun. He's right there, he's probably just on the point of passing. You can barely see his cell phone with his other arm. And yeah, I do think he at least got clipped. Oh, thank you Isaac13D for being a member for 11 months. Here's what I'm going to say. If that road wasn't icy and her tires had grabbed right away, she would have run him over fully since her tires wouldn't have spun in place while she was turning. That's true. You can see the tires spinning at first.
Twice. It also seems pretty clear.
He leans into the car. Yeah, I think, New York, I don't think you're necessarily completely wrong about that, but that's also part of Trey. You want to lean into your shots. Every shot you do, you lean into. It's part of combating recoil. So while yes, he did technically lean into the shot, he's technically supposed to if he's going to release a shot. That's actually that's actually how you fire a pistol. At least how I was trained to fire a pistol. Again, you're right, that did happen, but I'm not going to necessarily, that's... If I pulled out a bike and started using the pedals, and then, an emergency situation happened, I used the brakes right, exactly as the manual says, but it ends up causing a dangerous situation, well, shit, I did what I was trained to do, how I was trained to do it. Maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but the actual action of pulling and leaning into the shot, that's how you fire. Can I change my answer from no to yes? Alright. You know what? Here, we have a bunch of free stuff here. Let's see. 58% to 42%. 4 minutes ago, I'm gonna give it just a little bit longer.
That the reason he was arguably in front of the car was for video recording purposes, and that at any time he could have gotten out of the way. And I will opine at this time that holding your cell phone in one hand while firing with the other seems pretty reckless, if not depraved indifference to the human life.
That was a lot of lawyer jargon. He's playing the defense.
Come at us?
Yeah,
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
See, look, even that, you're showing, this is not, go get some lunch, big boy. What the fuck, man?
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Okay, so he is showing the cell phone footage. Honestly, this is the part. Okay, let's see how he no, this is gonna be strike 3, guys. How he decides to frame the cell phone footage of the officer is how we're going to determine if we're going to give him that 3rd strike or not.
Now, given the Trump administration's refusal to participate in the investigation, and the fact that this video comes seemingly directly from Mr. Ross's cell phone, it's extremely likely this video was leaked by either Mr. Ross himself or someone in the chain of custody at the Department of Homeland Security. Probably because they think that this video is exculpatory, which seems likely given that it was leaked to a right-wing news source. And as is the case in many instances, evidence can and often does support two diametrically opposed arguments at the same time. But from all angles, the video footage depicts a hostile, clumsy, and unnecessarily violent operation. The Minnesota officials have stated their intent to hold unlawful actors in the shooting incident criminally accountable. And to bring charges against a peace officer for the use of deadly force, the state must be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the officer's use of deadly force was not justified.
Yeah,
Section
he's playing the DA angle.
609.066 of the Minnesota Code governs the authorized use of deadly force by peace officers. Now, assuming for purposes of this analysis that the offending ICE agent
that's a
would...
problem. Hold on, he just mentioned some case law that, one, first of all, this is a thorough investigation is going to really matter regarding that, but Tim Walls, 2020. Okay, so Minnesota Law 609.066. Officers are allowed to use deadly force if a driver accelerates towards them. Not directly towards them, but just towards them, creating immediate life-threatening danger. No need to wait for impact. They can act based on apparent intent and proximity. So, this passage does not appear. I love... Here we go. Deadly force defined for purposes of... See, now we have another problem. We have a problem of the right lying about a Minnesota state statute, because I just brought up the actual statute on revisor.minnesota.gov, a government website. And just like this does not appear whatsoever in the fucking... Are you kidding me? Thank you, 1. 2, community notes. Honestly, let's be real. Of all the things that Elon Musk has done to Twitter, community notes has been by far the fucking best thing on the planet for it. So that's... boom, that's a strike against the state for me. So who would have guessed? It's black. Let's get... No, it's okay. I was just reading it. Okay, let's remove this. Okay,
would be
continue.
deemed a peace officer, which
Just
is
for a bit.
not 100%.
I'm waiting for the 10-minute mark. We have 1 more minute. 48 votes. We get to 50 votes, I'll honor
certain.
it.
There's not a lot of case law on this. There is a possibility that a Minnesota jury could convict the ICE agent under the present circumstances. How likely that would be remains to be seen. Now, Minnesota's applicable statute permits the use of deadly force when,
And this is the actual statute.
quote,
Okay.
an objectively reasonable officer would believe, based on the totality of the circumstances known to the officer at the time, and without the benefit of hindsight, that such force is necessary to protect the
Becky
peace
didn't
officer
vote, she
or
wasn't
another
a
from death
passenger.
or great bodily harm, provided that the threat can be articulated with specificity, is reasonably likely to occur absent action by the law enforcement officer, and must be addressed through the use of deadly force without unreasonable delay. Now, the statute also permits the use of deadly force to, quote, affect the arrest or capture or prevent the escape of a person whom the peace officer knows or has reasonable grounds to believe has committed or attempted to commit a felony, and the officer reasonably believes that person will cause the death or great bodily harm to another person unless immediately apprehended. As stated by the city attorney's office of Hennepin County, where the incident
That
took place,
sounds
the statute provides a,
pretty-
quote, significant defense to criminal charges brought against an officer accused of the use of deadly force. And under this defendant-friendly statute, it would be difficult, but not necessarily impossible to prosecute Agent Ross for the unlawful use of deadly force. Turning back to the footage, Agent Ross might have a viable argument.
So, okay, this is weird. He's making arguments for Ross. Did I just slip into an alternate reality? Did he just start actually making arguments for Ross's defense? Using cited case law? I mean, he's doing it, but grudgingly, which is why I said it would be difficult but not impossible to charge. Dude, let's be real. With those statutes in place, it's nigh impossible.
In his favor based on his first shot into Miss Good's SUV. At the time of the first shot, Agent Ross appears to be positioned maybe slightly in front of the SUV, which would...
I would say with today's SUVs and cars, if the car is in drive, you can assume it's automatically locked. There's many cars now that when you put them in reverse or drive, the cars will automatically lock as part of the power locking system. So, if the car is being driven, I'm assuming the doors are locked.
Would be consistent with the corresponding bullet hole appearing in the front of the windshield in later footage. It is possible that a jury would believe an objectively reasonable officer would believe the deadly force was necessary to protect him or herself from death or great bodily harm when they're standing in front of, or at least partially in front of, a moving vehicle. The statute itself says that the decision of the peace officer to use deadly force is evaluated under the totality of the circumstances, which, quote, shall account for occasions when officers may be forced to make quick judgments about using deadly force. And
We're gonna stop it right there. Dad, he's almost doing good enough with this counter argument that I want to remove a strike, but I never remove strikes. Strike's a strike, and I've done a poll. Poll has been ended. I'm sorry, Devin. Yeah, you started to turn the corner, but you didn't turn the corner fast enough. But that is okay, because I saved, in my opinion, what I consider probably one of the best for last. I will say out of the 3 that we watched so far, Nate the Lawyer has been by far the best. But this one is from COR Bruce Rivers. And for those who don't know, criminal defense attorney Bruce Rivers is a a state and federal bar certified criminal defense attorney and expert in criminality. When you call an expert witness, he is that expert witness you call. Now, he actually operates out of Minnesota, so this has actually happened right in his backyard, and I'm very interested to see what a homegrown Minnesota lawyer actually has to say about this information. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move on. Oh, thank you so much, Mama Oko, for the 10 gifted memberships. Derp21, Clark and Vin, Dargon Bell, Justin Tan, Endrin. Okay, guys, get better usernames. These are so hard to pronounce. Danny D, Alien, Slim Agile, Monster Star, Lugia, and Ferocity Chow. How's it going? Thank you so much again to Mama Oko. He turned slower than Renee did. Oh my God, you can't do that, Mama Oko. Oh, Jesus. No, Bruce is not in California. Sparky's Tech Corner. My God, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Warwolf, Wolfsbane, Rogue, Admiral, Relevis, Christopher. Okay, come on. Christopher Kinson, Jonathan, Asade Umeme, Friendly Punk, Tentacle Dude, Paul. Thank you again so much, everybody, for the gifted memberships. You're really trying to get me to not freaking make my night stream on time, are you? Because we have an hour and 15 minutes to do this, but this is a 34-minute video, so we might be able to just get it done in time. That being said, let me make sure that this is on normal playback speed. It is. That's good. And this was posted 1 day ago as well. Naruhime is a perfect username, and I can pronounce it. So you're gosh darn right. Lion Bean, we have gone through Attorney Larry Foreman's video on it. He did a AI cross-examination of an AI prompt of Jonathan Ross, which was very interesting. We watched Nate the Lawyer's analysis and breakdown of the videos, which was very, very good in my opinion. And we watched part of Legal Eagle's analysis and overview of it. Sadly, based on community polling, he did manage to get 3 strikes, and I have a 3-strike rule where I stop watching the video. If basically at my discretion certain criteria has been met in terms of misappropriate framing or dishonest framing, etc. Bruce did produce 2 videos regarding ICE on Naruhime, which I liked for him to do. I'm not going to react to that second video because the reason why he produced 2 separate videos is because you do need to isolate the situation. He wanted to talk about the broader situation in Minnesota, but that wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for a strict analysis of the Renee Good situation. So we will definitely probably end up watching his follow-up video on the larger Minnesota situation involving ICE enforcement, but that will be on our next Elfpire Reacts.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react.
And he's gonna react to all the snap snitching. Okay,
hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another serious episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board certified criminal defense lawyer. You know it's serious because I'm wearing my pearl handle pistol cufflinks so graciously gifted to me by our former content genius that you knew as Michael Rivers, God rest his soul. Today, we are reacting to more fucking drama. In the first minute, I swore. You know, I told myself I would try not to swear so much.
Is this right? Oh no, this is wrong. Oh my god, hold on. Thank you, Naruhime. You're the one who noticed that? Yeah, no, I was just reacting to the broader situation. Not the actual Renee Good video. My god, I'm so sorry. Okay, hold on. Video criminal lawyer reacts to Minneapolis.
And here's the
murder.
thing.
Here we
you
go.
want to fuck with somebody who has a gun, expect to get shot. I mean, it's...
Jesus. Oh, hey, God. Oh my god, Bruce. Bruce. What did you... That was the first line in the fucking video?
And here's the thing. You want to fuck with somebody who has a gun, expect to get shot.
I mean, yeah, oh my god, yeah, here's the thing. That is absolutely true. That is technically true.
I mean, it's as simple as that. You're not supposed to shoot into a moving vehicle for a couple of reasons.
You're not supposed to shoot into a moving vehicle for a couple reasons. That's also true. I fucking love that. Look, Bruce, coming in with both of the fucking wrongs that were done. One, you shouldn't be fucking... You fuck with someone with a gun, you're gonna get shot. Two, you shouldn't be shooting into a moving vehicle. Look, Bruce, love you, man. That was an amazing intro.
One is you could hit somebody else. You hit a car, it ricochets off. Number two, what about your partners that are there? Did you see the proximity to the partners? I mean, you got one guy on the side and you're shooting at the front.
Yeah, one stray bullet could have ended up being a much different story involving a friendly fire incident. That's actually a very valid point. I don't think anyone actually brought that up.
I mean, how dangerous is that? If you're the lawyer for the officer, certainly you try to paint her as an obstructionist, as somebody that's impeding this ICE operation, as somebody that wants to get in the way and it was told to get out of the way and told to get out of her vehicle.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal.
And yes, we did it twice, guys.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react.
And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer.
You don't have to say, well, true. The nice thing about Bruce Rivers is his simple statement, you should not shoot into a moving vehicle, is simply true. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, there are exceptions to all rules, but he made two very clear, simple statements that honestly resonate with me greatly. If you fuck with somebody who has a gun, expect to be shot, and don't shoot into a moving vehicle. I think honestly that's completely fair.
Coming to you with my gold Irish cufflinks on. It's a somber day today because we're talking about Miss Good, who lost her life in an ICE attack. I'm just going to call it attack because she was attacked. But we're going to show some clips. We're going to dissect it a little bit, and we're going to talk about use of force. And there's a lot to talk about. This was an operation by ICE, and there's this whole ICE is put 2,000 troops, basically. I'm going to call them troops because that's how they're acting. They're acting like troops. They've got Kevlar on. They've got camo on. They're masked up. They're loaded up, ready to rock and roll. And so we're going to talk about what that means as well. So, but before we get to that, ladies and gentlemen, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. AskALawyer.com is a very effective way. For $49, you can get the advice of a living, breathing lawyer. AskALawyer.com. For example, if you have here in town, for a second, I deal with people who are undocumented almost every day. Almost every day. I have, and when it comes to immigration, I deal with immigration lawyers all the time. Because what I do as a criminal lawyer has an impact on somebody's immigration status, right? So if somebody has a case and I lose the case, well, they can be deported because of that case. But if I win the
Right.
case, well, all of a sudden they can't use any facts surrounding that case, and they're in a much better position. Case in point, last September, I had a case in Anoka County. We show up for the day of trial. My client is there, and ICE shows up and swoops him up, puts him in ICE custody, doesn't allow him to go to his trial. And it was a sex case, criminal sexual conduct case. He was working at Denny's as a cook, and this gal who did not want to be there, she was 15 and didn't want to have a job. Family friend of my client decides, what better way to not work for Denny's anymore, but if I tell them that he sexually assaulted me. Police didn't get the video, and anyway, long story short, that really impacted my client because he got picked up by ICE. I pulled some strings with a friend of mine and got him out of ICE custody, back into Anoka jail, at the Anoka County Jail, and we went to trial on his case. And guess what? The jury came back in less than an hour and acquitted my client. It was an absolute bullshit allegation. It should never have been tried to begin with, to be quite frank with you. And so now he's able to stay here and have a much better...
Just him talking
that's
about
why I love
working
what
with
I do,
undocumented
because
people.
we affect somebody's life, right? But when you have people who are undocumented, we have, the right to enforce our borders and to, deport people who aren't here legally. I get that. But do we want, do we want 2,000 troops to just come into our...
Well, ICE detained his client. As his lawyer, he has a constitutional right to access to his client to discuss criminal procedure. He has a right to habeas corpus. There's a lot of things in place here that make ICE attempting to detain him so he can't make his trial. That's not appropriate, and that doesn't help anybody. What Bruce did is he probably called contacts that he has as a lawyer, and he got his constitutional right to see his client, and his client have the right to a speedy trial and to a trial in general. That's probably how that happened. It sounds like after the civil trial... This wasn't a civil trial, it was a criminal trial. What the fuck? He just said he's a criminal defense attorney. He doesn't do civil cases. Shiojo, please. Think before you type.
Communities and rouse people who are at work and at school and whatever. And I'm not advocating, for sanctuary cities by any means. I don't like troops on my fucking streets. Trump has talked about putting the National Guard into certain cities and having the military take control.
I understand, but this is an awful lot of setup for what we're looking your analysis. I don't normally do this, Bruce, but I'm going to move forward with your background in terms of working with undocumented members and having to deal with ICE. I understand it's relevant. It allows you to establish your credibility and the fact that you are someone who has boots on the ground. Guys, I'm letting you know, I'm only skipping this part because I already have established in my mind his credibility, and so therefore he doesn't need to establish it with me.
Let's take a look at...
Yeah, he's gilding... Look, this is a criticism of him. He's gilding the lily right now, and you don't want to gild the lily.
So let's just start with a news clip. This has been all over the news. You guys have seen it on the news.
We've just learned the woman who was killed was 37-year-old Renee Good.
Yeah, that's definitely... He's venting about having ISIS in the neighborhood. Look, I live in a place so rural, ICE couldn't even occupy my neighborhood because there is no neighborhood to occupy. But I imagine I would not be necessarily overly thrilled to see federal agents going door to door and walking down the street asking people who look like they might not be from here for their papers. That's fucking wild. Papers, please? Papers, please? That doesn't feel like America to me. But that is kind of a separate case from what we're dealing with here, which is this situation involving Renee Good and Jonathan Ross. Okay, so beyond my larger opinion about ICE and how they're conducting themselves, we have to actually narrow that and focus on the actual case.
Caught one angle of what happened on video. A warning, though, it could be disturbing for some viewers.
Now, I don't know what she was doing there. You know, ICE is doing whatever they're doing, and people are protesting. And here's the thing. You want to fuck with somebody who has a gun, expect to get shot. I mean, it's as simple as that. But there is also a force continuum. You know what the force continuum is? The force continuum is you start with a certain level of force.
Presence,
like
verbal, soft hands.
verbal commands.
Chemical, hard hands.
And then you escalate
Taser and deadly
until
force.
compliance.
Okay,
And you don't use lethal force is on the very, very end of the force continuum. And you're not supposed to use lethal force unless you are facing imminent death or substantial bodily harm.
What the You hear 3 shots fired, a crash, and then you see witnesses running to help.
Now we're gonna go back to this video in a minute, but listen to more of this coverage.
The woman who was shot died. Federal authorities say that driver was trying to run over an ICE agent. Not long after, tensions quickly boiled over at the scene. Agents sprayed some protesters with a chemical irritant, trying to get the crowd under control.
I don't like seeing people in fatigues, in Kevlar, in army helmets, and boots on our soil, in our neighborhoods. I just don't like seeing it.
This all played out in South Minneapolis near 34th and Portland, where a large crowd is still gathering this evening.
About a mile from my house.
We continue our
Yeah, don't
live
forget
team
to go
coverage
check.
of this breaking news now. I believe we're going to begin with Connor White, who's been at the scene all day. Connor?
Good evening. The number of people...
Connor just got his...
Sharia law isn't coming to fucking Ohio. I really don't like it. I prefer boots to burkas. Shut the fuck up. If anybody here wants to be a bootlicker as an American when we fucking founded ourselves on oppressing and fucking combating tyranny, you need to get out of my chat. Okay? The fact of the matter is that yes, immigration has been a substantial problem, a problem that requires swift action. However, during the Obama administration, ICE had Democrat and Republican funding. Obama was able to deport 3 times as many illegals as Trump has so far in both of his terms. And we didn't have these situations. The issue that I have is there's a difference between performative enforcement and actual, logical, efficient enforcement. I've seen efficient enforcement. I've seen it to the tune of 3.5 million illegals deported without any of these riots. However, Trump's ICE seems more performative in their enforcement than actually efficient, and that is my issue. I think we can all agree that more efficient enforcement of our laws and more efficient ejection of illegal aliens and undocumented aliens is better for everybody. And the less performative it is, the more efficient it is. And that's just speaking from the stats.
Paper route and doing this on the side.
People here has really ebbed and flowed.
Look how young this guy looks. Maybe I'm just getting older. Everybody looks so young now to me. I don't know, but he looks like he's about 14.
Throughout the 9 hours since that shooting, we've seen here as this vigil gets underway that more people are flooding in. It's really shoulder to shoulder, standing room only, so to speak, here just off 34th and Portland. A lot of people here to express their anger, but also to honor 37-year-old Renee Good, the American citizen who ICE shot and killed earlier this morning in an incident that bystanders say simply did not need to happen. Now, this was recorded by one of those bystanders. We showed you some of this video off the top. In it, you can hear several shots after the red Honda backs up and begins moving forward here on Portland. The car crashes and a woman gets out. The driver is still in the driver's seat for some time, with blood covering the interior.
For people wanting to know why there's only audio and there's not video, for some reason, YouTube's being very on top of Bruce Rivers. If Bruce Rivers shows any of the videos that we've seen in this reaction, it'll get taken down by YouTube. Will their automated system will just take it down. Cut ice is also forcing people that for some reason want to fight more. Well, there's an issue when you have a narrative of, oh yes, we should be going door to door, knocking on the doors and asking people for illegals, and asking them there if they're a citizen. That's not America to me. That's never been America to me. We fought of an incredibly oppressive empire for doing exactly the same type of shit. Hey, you got any patriots in here? The redcoats literally went door to door looking for patriots, and people were like, all I know is I don't like the reflection in historical events that I am seeing with what's happening right now. And I'm just saying that ICE, in order to appropriately do their job, they really need to get a hold of the narrative and the optics measure much more. Like, dude, ICE, you guys need a better PR person. That's really the big thing.
Of the car. That woman appears to be Renee Good, who was brought outside of the car eventually and receives medical attention from law enforcement, though witnesses tell us ICE appeared to stop a man who was claiming to be a doctor who wanted to help.
A man on the street next to me said, "I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, allow me to get closer to provide emergency medical aid." The ICE
yeah, but like, did he show up in scrubs? He is with EMT. Like, he's just a guy in civvies claiming to be a physician. I'm sorry, but as a law enforcement officer, as an ICE officer, I'm not inclined to let him approach the scene to evaluate anything. That's EMS's job.
Said, "No, back up, get on the sidewalk, stay on the sidewalk."
The failure to render aid is just astounding here. Show me your credentials real quick. I mean, you got a medical...
Yeah, sure, yeah. No, if you have credentials, then yeah, please. Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's a good counterpoint. If somebody showed up and they're in their civvies, but they have credentials showing that they are a doctor, whatever that would be, I would permit it. But he just said, "I'm a doctor. Can I check her pulse?" The guy is in the middle of dealing with a high-pressure situation. Maybe he didn't think to ask for your credentials. Maybe he dismissed you too soon, but you could have at least offered the credentials up or done something a little bit more to prove that you were a doctor.
License in your wallet?
While that was happening, another guy was shouting, "No pulse, no pulse."
Shiojo, I like that. Physicians and civvies need some kind of "I'm a trained MD" license they can show to officers, I think. I mean, I had an EMT card when I was in EMT.
And maybe 2 minutes later, emergency medical services showed up with an ambulance, and I saw them carry the body out of the vehicle and bring her halfway down the block and around the corner, where somebody administered emergency CPR.
In all fairness,
That's a bit odd. So for those who don't know why I'm pausing and why I'm saying that's a bit odd, when there is a situation like this, you're not, like medically, you're not permitted, or it's not a good idea to move the body any amount of a space other than what is necessary to get them into a position where you can render aid, whether that be chest compressions, rescue breathing, or what have you. But what they should have done is they should have taken her out of the car, laid her right there, next to the car, perform the aid for, I think it's like 15, 20 minutes, and then you call it, and then move the body. But if you were doing this appropriately to medical procedure, they shouldn't have moved the body and then done rescue compressions. That's reversed.
Very difficult to do what you need to do when you are surrounded by people like this.
Okay, so I'm also seeing Naruhime and others saying ICE are trained in EMT as far as I know, by the way. They used to be. Training used to be 5 to 6 months. Now it's 47 days. That is woefully inefficient. We need more appropriate, more comprehensive training for our ICE enforcement. I think that is something everybody here in chat could agree with. We keep us safe! Like, look, at least make it 8 weeks. At least make it on par with, like, our military boot camps. Don't make it a month and a half. A month and a half for a course that used to take 5 to 6 months. Are you fucking kidding me? That is that is almost negligently, like, that is such a shortened timeline. 47 days, not 46 days, 47.
Now, as you can hear, there is still a large crowd. It is a passionate crowd listening to some speakers following along in chants. We'll go to our Adam Duxter soon, who will have a bit more information on what's happening right now. On the law enforcement side of things, we know there is a joint investigation into the shooting underway between the FBI, that's the federal level, and the BCA here with the state of Minnesota. Connor White, WCCO News.
The BCA is the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. It's not a local law enforcement agency. It's a statewide.
Yeah, JP Raven, that's kind of what I like is like it's a non-issue. The person's clearly dead. I mean, shot GSW through the head. I'm pretty sure you could pronounce them dead at the scene. I'm not sure why they didn't. It's just a little nitpick for me because if they were legitimately trying to render aid, they reversed the steps.
Investigative agency that's used primarily by the Attorney General's office and in certain crimes, like task force crimes, and they have a lab and that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the video. I'm going to slow it down to a quarter of its speed. Now you've got what I think is a nice car right there, and then you have. The woman is Renee Good in her vehicle right there.
Yeah.
And you can see her brakes are on. It looks like she was actually attempting to move, just as this Ford Explorer is going in front of her.
I think that's just a car. I don't think that's an ICE vehicle. Because it keeps going and it would have stopped. That's an ICE truck. It has its lights on and everything. You can tell that's ICE.
And
So, sorry, COR, I think you misunderstood, but that first car that she waved by, I think was just another civilian.
It looks like she's got her arm out of the of her driver's side window. And if you keep in mind, a vehicle just passed. So she's not trying to ram anybody. And she's a lot,
Okay, buddy, I think your own confirmation bias is kind of getting in your way. You're right, she's not trying to ram anybody. She's not a current danger, but she is very clearly impeding traffic by blocking one of two lanes, which means that she's blocking the only way that this vehicle can go. This vehicle will have to go into an oncoming lane in order to pass her. That is impeding traffic. That is a problem.
Telling, like, kind of waving people through. And you see this black SUV here? That's the kind of SUV that I saw passing me on the highway. And you saw that Suburban there.
Yeah, I think that one's a nice car. This is slowed down quite a bit. I remember he said that.
She's just sitting there, not doing anything. She's no threat to anybody at this point, right?
Yeah, the car continued, unguided for about a city block. Thank God it didn't hit anybody, it didn't hit anything else, right? I think it hit another car and a tree. But that is also part of why you don't fire into a moving car to disable the driver, because you have no longer, there is no, where before, oh my God, we don't know what's gonna happen. We now definitely know what's gonna happen, but there's no stopping it.
Now they're walking towards her, so she's going to try to move. So she's going to back up. And this officer...
Speaking of, this is his reaction of only this video. This video was released before the release of the Jonathan Ross footage. And so understand that some of his initial reactions are missing that additional context that all of us have.
Officer attempts to grab her door. So I'll turn the volume down. Let's turn the volume off on that. All right, now he's at the door and telling her, he doesn't tell her.
The police department isn't required or obligated to stretch themselves farther thin by helping ICE. ICE enforcement should have their own ability to operate. Now, the police department should do nothing to impede them, and actually, the police department should be standing by to actually respond to instances that require a law enforcement officer, not a federal agent, to respond to. So, in that way, absolutely, police should be cooperating with ICE, and any police department that's not cooperating with ICE, that's obviously a problem. It needs to be addressed. But ICE doesn't matter that they need more people. They need better training. You don't shorten a 5 to 6 month training period into a month and a half. There's no way they're getting all the knowledge and all the necessary skills that they need to not end up causing themselves danger, other people in danger, and stuff like. Trust me. I'm not saying this because Jonathan Ross is undertrained. He is a firearms trainer. He's been in ICE for 10 years. I'm not putting this on him. What I'm saying right now is in an effort to try and bolster their forces for ICE and Customs and Border Enforcement, they are neglecting critical training that will make instances like this far less frequent. Instances where people are falling on the ice and people are drawing out guns and doing shit that honestly, if they just had the fucking course on proper use of force, they probably wouldn't be doing. The reason why we didn't have all of this stuff being fucking broadcasted during the Obama administration, when there was just as much, if not more, ICE enforcement going on than there is now, honestly, the issue is the difference in training. Back then, you had 5 to 6 months of comprehensive training, and now you got 47 days in a dream. That's a problem.
Get out of the car. Get the fuck out of the car. You know,
Oh, and one more thing. ICE agents absolutely need to have Exxon body cameras. I have no idea why ICE agents are not equipped with body cameras. That is ridiculous, in my opinion, in this day and age.
One of the things about these ICE agents, you know, there's an influx of these guys, right? And they're all, and their training has been cut in half, is what I understand. I've always said cops need a lot more training. They need a lot more schooling. So he's got his hand in.
That's funny. That's funny. So, yeah, he just mentioned it's been cut by more than half. And if we are going to do anything to make this better, we need to have their training back to when they were performing much better, statistically speaking.
Inside her vehicle. Now he's on the side and you got another agent on this side. And you got one right in front of her. If you can see the guy right there.
Eli, while I don't know if they're supposed to, actually, ICE is one of the only federal and law enforcement agencies, both state and federal side, that do not specifically have a policy of requirement of wearing body cameras. I think there's efforts right now to get ICE equipped with body cameras and make it a requirement, but as of right now, it's not technically required. Which is why Jonathan Ross didn't have a body cam. And none of these other people had body cams.
That's the first shot.
That's a problem then. They don't have enough for whatever reason. They're getting more funding than the Marines right now. That's a problem. If they're required to have body cams, but they just don't have enough, then fucking buy them, because you are being supplied with more money and supplies than one of our arms of the military.
He's not going after him. You can see her wheels are turned to the right. You can see they're turned to the right. She's not trying to run anybody over. And you're not supposed to put yourself in front of a fucking vehicle. I mean, that's just safety. First shot. You see the first shot go there. Now look at this. This is at 16 seconds into the video. The officer involved here is at the side of the vehicle. He's not in front of her. His hand is pointed directly inside the driver's side window. So we only have one bullet hole.
Mama Oko, why would the Dems want to shut down when they just got the Affordable Care Act subsidies extended until 2027? We just went through a really bad shutdown. There's not really a need for another one. And Democrats got what they want during the last shutdown. So why would they just want another shutdown? ICE is already funded. Congress has dispersed the funds and it's in their account. They can't claw it back by shutting down.
In the windshield. It was reported that there was about another bullet hole in one of the side mirrors. There's no other bullet holes. And we know, I think we can safely say that one of the shots came directly from the driver's side at point blank range. Within 18 seconds, she's dead. Why wouldn't he just let her go? Don't stand in front of the vehicle. If somebody's not complying, you got her license plate number. You can go to her house and arrest her for failure to obey a lawful order.
This is him playing defense.
Or fleeing in a motor vehicle. I mean, you could do that. What would be the crime here? I mean, if you analyze this in the same context as, say, the George Floyd case, you know, you have to look at use of force and the continuum.
Yeah, this is before
and what
the
officers are allowed and not allowed to do. It's the same standard for Derek Chauvin as it is for this guy. You know, you're not, first of all, they're taught not to shoot into a fucking vehicle. You're not supposed to shoot into a moving vehicle.
They're supposed to be taught, but I don't know that they are. Again, it's normal, and yes, the shooting might be justified, but standard policy dictates you're not supposed to shoot into a moving vehicle.
For a couple of reasons. One is you could hit somebody else. You hit a car, it ricochets off. Number two, what about your partners that are there? Did you see the proximity to the partners? I mean, you got one guy on the side and you're shooting at the front. I mean, how dangerous is that? You're only supposed to do it if you're in fear of substantial bodily harm or death. Very traumatic for this community to have these ICE agents come in. So let's take another angle at it. This is from.
Oh yeah, that's the other angle that we had. The one that kind of makes it look like he did get at least clipped.
So her foot must have been stuck on the accelerator when she crashed.
And that's Hadrix, welcome to the chat first of all, and that's what makes that's the argument that, you know, once a court finds if a shooting is justified or not, or a jury or whatever, that's the argument that's made. But regardless of whether or not the shooting is justified, what I am saying is that their policy dictates they should not shoot into a vehicle that is in motion. Why? Because the vehicle will keep moving. If you kill the person and you're in front of a moving vehicle, say it was a more straight angle, you did not save yourself. You still need to move. You're out of the way of the moving vehicle. And so in light of that, I don't know if anyone's ever played GTA. Fired at a cop that's that's coming at you full speed. You shoot the fucking driver, the car keeps going, runs into you, and now you're wasted. There's a reason why you're not supposed to fire into a moving car. Now, regardless of if you're not supposed to or not, there's still an argument can be made that the agent felt had a genuine fear for his life and needed to respond with lethal force. That's the argument that's going to be made in court, and if it ever gets to court. But doesn't mean he still shouldn't have done it.
So what they did is they had to turn the vehicle off. That's why you heard that sound over and over again. So sad. Let's hear what one of the witnesses has to say. There's no question that in that angle that you just saw, that she's trying to get away and she's not really intending to mow anybody down.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her.
I'm sorry, what? What is this? She was the main car leading the protest. That's not a good thing to hear, and that's not a good thing to admit from a defense attorney's perspective. Why the hell was okay? Yeah, that's a weird narrative to give.
But she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely.
I mean, from the video, we can see that she was completely perpendicular to the lane of traffic, and in order to pass her, you had to actually commit a violation yourself by moving into a traffic of a lane that is for oncoming traffic. In that sense, absolutely, she was impeding. Yeah.
Whether it was or not, I mean, she was attempting to leave. So it's been bantered
In
about.
that moment, she was attempting to leave, yeah, but she also weaponized her vehicle when she did that. See, there's no one side to this, sadly, and there's no, oh, Renee Good did nothing wrong and Jonathan Ross did everything wrong, or vice versa. That's not how this is playing out, and that's not how reality works. Sadly, in this world that we want to be full of blacks and whites, it's full of grays.
Would it make a difference if she's a willful, obstructionist, or if she's just dropping off a kid, and I think it does to a certain degree. However, you still don't shoot into a moving vehicle unless you're, looking at substantial bodily harm or death. And she clearly is turning away and waving cars through. There was a car that just got through, so she wasn't trying to impede that person. Yeah. If you're the lawyer for the officer, certainly you try to paint her as an obstructionist, as somebody that's impeding this ICE operation, as somebody that wants to get in the way.
Well, yeah,
and was told to get out of the way,
if you're on Jonathan Ross's
and told
side,
to get out of her
side
vehicle.
you have to go.
And the uncertainty of what's going on is something that can't be lost. However, I still come to the conclusion that he could have easily just stepped out of the way, and it was. I think Trump tweeted that he was almost killed, which is just ridiculous. I think they said he went to the hospital and was released. For what? I didn't see any injuries at all. So let's hear what our fair mayor has to say.
The mayor did not hold back when speaking about the shooting.
He had this strong message for ICE.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Okay, if I want to lower the rhetoric, would I use those words? And I love to swear, right? I love to swear. Come on. But he's frustrated and he wants to sound tough. But what are you going to do? I mean, there's not...
Yeah, I kind of... no. Look, I'm with Bruce here. I swear all the fucking time. But as the mayor, going on TV and going, ICE, get the fuck out of here. Dude, you're not a gangster. This isn't Game of Thrones. Stop acting like a badass.
Nothing you can do. If ICE wants to be here, they're going to be here, right? And it's up to the citizenry, to do whatever they're going to do. But I don't advocate anybody going against ICE. Fight it out in court.
Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
WCCO's Reg Chapman was at that press conference for us, and he joins us now with more reaction from the mayor and the police chief. Reg.
Our camera saw Minneapolis City Councilor Jason Chavez with a bullhorn urging the crowd to protest peacefully. But the mayor and the police chief are urging the same thing, to try and keep the calm while the investigation plays out.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it.
We ask that the community continue to call for peace.
Don't worry, Ramses, we're on the tail end of our reactions of everything.
And people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights.
There's just no reason for you to get in the way of ICE. And I'm...
Eli, I'm sorry to say, or Ellie, that's speculative. He is passing and going towards the back of the vehicle. It's a good it's like more closer to a minute and a half between him looking at her, smiling and saying she's not mad, and when she actually went. And she only went in response to, one, her wife who was saying contradicting orders and trying to flee a lawful order of ICE telling her to get out of the car. You cannot say that because she looked at him and smiled, she was thinking at that time, oh, I'm going to ram into him in a minute and a half when he rounds around. That didn't happen. That is pure speculation. That is not fair.
Saying that respectfully, because I get how frustrated the people are. The people are very frustrated. You know, I mean, we don't need to be a sanctuary city. At the same time, we don't need to have over enforcement. And I think that's what we have here. So, you know, the thing about it is we're so aptly represented with leaders, you know, whether Democrat or Republican, you know, and our leader in Homeland.
So before you were here, we've seen that video several times. I'm sorry to say, I'll go back off camera and take a look, and maybe I'll actually bring up the video myself and we'll see if she's smiling. But I did not see a smiling face. And also, you cannot speculate on her state of mind, regardless of whether or not she was smiling. Her intent is regardless to the bodily threat that immediately presented itself to Jonathan Ross. What I am saying is that while I am more on your side than not, further going on to hammer this home is doing the same thing, the same reason why I gave Devin with Legal Eagles 3 strikes and we stopped watching this video. That is way too much speculation. You cannot speak on her state of mind. She's dead now, and her intent is irrelevant, meaningly.
Security, so fashionably coiffed with her, you know, her suede hat and her brown shirts. There are brown shirts.
If I smile at a kid, bitchy aiming in front of me, it doesn't mean later I'm gonna punt the kid.
Let's hear what our dear leader has to say.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Act of domestic terrorism? Did she blow something up? Did she try to kill anybody? Did she hurt anybody? She didn't try to run anybody down.
What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to...
Stuck in the snow? There was no fucking...
I don't remember that. I mean, it was icy, for sure, but no one was stuck in the snow. Point against the government. I don't like when you lie to me. And when you lie to me, even though I'm still on your side, that Renee Good definitely shouldn't have done that, and she created a dangerous situation, that Jonathan Ross can make a very strong defense that he felt in fear of his life and responded as such. But I don't remember anyone being stuck in the fucking snow.
Snow. There was no snow on the ground. I mean, yeah, we have snow on the ground, but it's been in the 30s. So they didn't get stuck in the snow. It didn't happen.
Attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them, and those...
She didn't attack them. I mean, what is she watching that we're not watching?
Those surrounding them and attempted to run them.
You mean in the beginning of the video, that car that started moving and moved past, and then the truck rolls up? Because the earliest thing from the video that I remember is she is impeding traffic, waves that one SUV in front of her, and the SUV goes in front of her into an oncoming traffic lane, passes her, and then the ICE truck pulls up and they get out, start approaching her, tell her to get out of the truck. I don't remember anyone being stuck in the ice.
Over and rammed them with her vehicle. An officer...
Is this AI? I mean, this looks like it's AI.
Of ours acted quickly and defensive.
What is that hat that she's wearing? Like, everything aside, why are you wearing the most, like, where are you? Are you in Texas? I mean, why can't I see your eyes? I can't see her eyes, guys. She has malice. Well, I'm kidding.
Shot to protect himself and the people around him.
This is not what she should say. There's another dude who's like, what's the other guy's name? This is not how you do it, folks. This is not what a leader says at a time like this.
And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day.
Yeah, here's the thing. Look, when you are an official and something like this has just happened, pretty much when you make a press release, you release a basic recollection of the facts, and you go, we are investigating and looking into this, and we will keep you updated. You leave the political commentary in your official press release regarding a legal incident that happened between one of your ICE agents and a civilian. You don't start commentating on it shit. You keep it as neutral and matter-of-fact as you can, ensuring you're going to conduct an investigation and you will have all the facts at a later date. You don't come out swinging like this. This is not professional and this is not appropriate. Again, me still thinking that the shooting was at least somewhat justified. But I'm sorry, I have to, look, we're Americans. We have to call out our government when they're being shit. And I'm sorry, the government's response and reaction to the situation has been particularly shit, even though I can see the defense being made and it being a strong one.
These vehicle rammings are domestic acts.
There was no vehicle ramming here whatsoever.
Domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers.
Unbelievable. I can't believe she's got a job. Quite honestly. Look at that fuck.
Look, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel all should be fired and replaced in my opinion, but that's beside the fact.
Fucking hat. I mean, she's cute and everything. She's kind of pretty, but I think she's got a little too much Botox. So Tom Holman, the border czar, sat down with Anderson Cooper. This is how you talk about this stuff. Not the way Kristi Noem. Oh, it's an act of domestic terrorism. It is, she tried to kill him. And the officer was acting in self-defense, and so you're not holding anybody accountable. You're not being a measured response.
A little bit.
Let's hear what Tom Holman has to say.
We had an incident in Minneapolis. According to the Department of Homeland Security, a woman attempted to weaponize her vehicle. That's a quote. Ram an agent, run over an agent. The department's called it an act of domestic terrorism. Open fire. That woman is dead this evening. Many Americans are watching videos of this incident online, and they're seeing something different than what the department is describing. I'd like to show you one of those videos so you can talk directly to Americans tonight about what they're seeing.
And sadly, I was right. There has been bloodshed. There's been attacks on ICE officers, there have been people killed, even our detainees were killed here in Dallas.
Yeah.
The investigation is ongoing. There's a lot of video, a lot of evidence hasn't been seen yet. I'm not a forensics expert, and neither are the people and members of Congress commenting on this. The auditors hold their judgment. Take a deep breath, hold their judgment, because I think the comments about murder is going to incite what? More violence, more threats, and hopefully not more bloodshed.
Who's this guy? This guy is exact. Look, I don't know who this guy. Wait. Is this an example of how it's supposed to be done in comparison to Kristi Noem? Because this guy is exactly right. Look, we don't have all the facts right now. We're investigating. Look, this is how you should make such an announcement. Let me go back. I'm sorry, but this was actually appropriate compared to what we saw from Kristi Noem. Big difference. Big fucking difference.
You're not holding anybody accountable. You're not being a measured response. Let's hear what Tom Holman has to say.
We had an incident in Minneapolis.
Tom Holman. Okay, so his name is Tom, and look, he handled the media trying to fucking get him going and try to get him fucking, to say something he may regret later. He fucking said to the media, to this guy, he went, hey, take a breath, calm down, let's look at this rationally. This is how you should do it. Kristi Noem, I'm sorry, completely unprofessional way of handling that situation.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, a woman attempted to weaponize her vehicle. That's a quote. Ram an agent, run over an agent. The department's called it an act of domestic terrorism. Open fire. That woman is dead this evening. Many Americans are watching videos of this incident online, and they're seeing something different than what the department is describing. I'd like to show you one of those videos so you can talk directly to Americans tonight about what they're seeing.
And sadly, I was right. There has been bloodshed. There's been attacks on ICE officers. There have been people killed. Even our detainees were killed here in Dallas.
Yeah.
The investigation is ongoing. There's a lot of video, a lot of evidence that hasn't been seen yet. I'm not a forensics expert, and neither are the people and members of Congress commenting on this. The auditors hold their judgment. Take a deep breath. Hold their judgment, because I think the comments about murder is going to incite what? More violence, more threats, and hopefully not more bloodshed.
And I want to get into that. I want to get into the increase in violence and threats against ICE officers, but I also want to linger for a moment on this incident because it's a really important one. I think the city of Minneapolis is on edge. I think the country is on edge.
Suffice to say, I'm not going to play this whole thing. You guys have probably already seen this anyway.
No, but that was impressive.
Holman says, look, there's an ongoing investigation. Let's wait till everything comes out. Instead of,
it's reasonable.
Being Mr. Partisan like Kristi Noem is and going off like this. At the end of the day, a woman lost her life. And why did she lose her life? She lost her life standing up for what she believed in, and going against ICE. We have to have more measure in our responses. We just do. And I get that ICE has a tough job. Anybody in law enforcement has a tough job, period, plain and simple. The use of force is something that is entrusted to a few people, and they have to have the training necessary. I could honestly see, Trump's administration is going to prosecute him for anything, for sure. But Keith Ellison, our attorney general here in Minnesota, who was a former congressman and a former defense lawyer, I actually knew him when he was a practicing lawyer. We went up against each other in cases.
Interesting.
But he is not a. I would bet that there is going to be a situation where they might put this in front of a grand jury, and that's where.
I mean, well, maybe they should, but the fact is they're being blocked from that. Prosecution, state prosecution of Minnesota has already admitted, with the FBI's stonewalling of any sharing of any evidence or investigative material, it becomes nigh impossible to actually apply any kind of a charge realistically with the state. So I'm sorry, but I don't think he's going to be charged, state or federally. And federally because they are on his side, but state because the feds are blocking the necessary path for us to do an investigation and eventual court case.
It belongs, because you have the grand jury decide whether there was probable cause to charge somebody. That should happen here, and I bet it will.
Sorry, I
so
don't
in my
agree.
closing thoughts, my heart goes out to this Renee Good's family. They lost a sister, a mother, a daughter, and sounds like she was a good woman by all accounts, unarmed. And the rhetoric that you hear from the White House and from Kristi Noem is just not true. She didn't do what she was accused of doing. She didn't run somebody down. She waved one guy through, and then she was trying to leave. Or actually, she delayed in leaving, and they told her to get out of the car.
No, she never left. Okay, so this is something that's been easily community noted. Anyone with any journalistic skills or searching can do this. She did not lose custody of her 2 kids. She did not lose custody of her 3rd kid. She was not committed or charged of any domestic or anything like that. Those are lies from the right. I looked her up specifically. What I found was 2 traffic infractions. And guess what? The tweet that you were referencing has already been community noted. I don't like when people lie.
And then she tried to leave. So, but they had her license plate number.
Hawkeye, it doesn't matter if the feds don't trust Minnesota. It is standard procedure to cooperate with the state when conducting investigations. The fact that they aren't is a red flag and inappropriate.
He could have just let her go. And if somebody does that, I am totally against police chases. At this day and age, there's no reason for it.
Yeah, police chases are dangerous.
You got a description of the person driving. You got their license plate number. You can just post up at their house when they're, and issue a warrant. But cops have a tough job, period. Plain and simple. And now the local police, what do they do with this ICE presence? I mean, that's complicated. How do you balance?
Well, given her wife, aka the stepmom to those 3 children, don't have children, I looked into Renee Good, not the wife. The wife doesn't have children.
That's what ICE is trying to do, and what the role of the Minneapolis police is here. I don't have an answer for you on that because that's above my pay grade. So
no, Benjer, again, it beats his lies. Like, what would that bring to the relevance of what happened? It's quite literally one side trying to lie and character assassinate someone who died to make them less sympathetic to what happened. That's all that is, and frankly, it's a disgusting factor that I don't like to entertain.
We'll just keep following up on this stuff as it happens, and hopefully the city doesn't burn like it did during the George Floyd days. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, Good had children from a prior
marriage. Go to Facebook. Let's build that platform, and we'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
All right.
He know all the charges that you about to face.
There
You
we
ain't
go.
coming home till 2050.
And so, that is 4 different lawyers who create content on YouTube reacting to, analyzing, and otherwise creating content regarding analyzing this situation. As for me, in my opinion is a lot of wrong things happened in quick succession, leading to a major disaster. I do believe that the cop violated rule of use of force policy, and I've already mentioned it in the you guys can go back in the VOD, but I'm talking about the crossing in front of the car once, the one before he actually went to cross when Good actually turned the car towards him. I don't count that, but he did cross once, then he crossed back just to look at the investigative thing and then kept going. But my issue with him is the policy he broke in terms of firing into a moving vehicle, positioning himself in front of or behind it all when a suspect has a high potential of fleeing. But these are policy infractions, and I do believe that Jonathan Ross had a reasonable fear of his life when he saw the car accelerating towards him. I believe he responded to that, knee-jerk reaction, but according to Minnesota law, technically justifiable. Am I okay with that? Maybe not. And maybe I can justify the first shot, but not the second or third, but it all happened within 0.7 seconds. The fact of the matter is, Renee Good should have complied with officers. Becca Good should not have announced conflicting orders to ICE's lawful orders to exit the vehicles because she was impeding traffic, and because of that, she made a mistake that cost her her life. However, Jonathan Ross, in protecting his own life, made several mistakes as well. Thank you so much for everyone who spent almost 3 hours reacting to this content. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell as hard as you possibly can, and we will of course see you all on the next one. Oh, and by the way, we gotta find somebody to raid into. Potential Criminal did a live stream yesterday on this. Oh, I'll have to check it out. I will have to check it out. The second and third shot is training. I'm sure it is. When I got trained in pistols, you're trained to do like 2 or 3 shots at a time in spaced succession as part of recoil control. Anyway, let's find out who we're gonna react to. I mean, not react to, raid into. My God, my brain is mush. Yeah, let me do this. And, there is this. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, stream settings, edit, customization, redirect. Okay, we have Spider Bro, Salvi, Runkle, the Bailey, the Almighty, Wally, Algamate. You know what? We're gonna do Salvi. Please give Salvi some love. He had freaking more Kazahana come at him over like literally, I have seen high school fucking girls react about as well as Kazahana did to the fact that Salvi, when he does his new stuff, he'll read out tweets and stuff like that, and Kazahana got all bent out of shape. Yeah, Salvi the Blue Squirrel. And he got all bent out of shape about not being credited and tried to claim that he reached out. He claims that he reached out to Salvi and said, "Oh, could you just like credit me and stuff like that?" He didn't. I actually reached out to Salvi and did a little bit of journalistic integrity shit here, and I got the DM that Kazahana did send him. Would you guys like to see this DM? I think you would. Here, let's show it. Look. I know I was getting ready to read out and stuff, but this is some juicy shit before the raid. Here he is, Kazahana. This is what he said when he sent a message to Salvi. "Hey, I just wanted to send a message in private to let you know that I see what you're doing in regards to my tweets and my YouTube. I just wanted to ask that you remove my channel on YouTube from your feed and no longer interact with my content, as it seems to be heavily influencing a lot of yours. I think it would be best, especially for your channel, to figure out your own research, video titles and ideas, as well as things like tweets." Now, for those who don't know, Salvi the Blue Squirrel has been doing this longer than Kazahana has. And Salvi has done a pretty good response on this, but for those who have seen the More Kazahana I'm Done video, you know when he said that he reached out to Salvi in DM, he represented things much differently than what this we have as proof. So please, give Salvi the Blue Squirrel some love. He's going through it. Kazahana has decided to take shots to him, and I will see you guys all on the next one.